And the reason and the way it is specific is that it can only apply in one of two situations, either against a favored enemy or while I'm fighting in a favored terrain. Those are its limitations. Otherwise, it's pretty much identical to the sneak attack.
All right.
And I think the last one is there's this one ability called Nature's Healing. It's just a way to make the heal skill actually really useful.
All right, like, what's the major difference?
Let me quickly double check it. Nature's Healing. Beginning at 3rd level, a spellless ranger's extensive knowledge of healing regarding flora and fauna of his favorite terrain gives him a +2 bonus to all heal skill checks made when in one of those favorite terrains. In addition, as long as he's in one of his favorite terrains while using the heal skill, he also gains the following effect. Long-term care. If a spellless ranger's heal check is successful, the patient recovers hit points or ability score points lost due to ability damage at 3 times the normal rate, 3 HP per character per level for a full 8 hours of rest, or 6 points, 6 HP per character level for each day of complete rest. 3 ability score points for full 8 hours of rest in a day, or 6 ability score points for each full day of rest complete. The various items and supplies necessary, bandages, salves, and so on are easy to come by in the spellless ranger's favorite terrains.
All right.
Treat deadly wounds. When treating deadly wounds in any of his favorite terrains, a spellless ranger can restore an additional 1d6 plus 1 HP, 1d6 plus 1 HP for every 3 spellless ranger levels he possesses. A spellless ranger does not need a healer's kit to treat wounds when in one of his favorite terrains, and receives no penalties for not having such items. Then basically with treat poison or treat disease, the same thing. If I beat if my heal check beats the DC of the poison or the disease by 5 or more, the patient gets a +8 instead of a +4 again for the saving throw.
I hear you. I'm just chewing food, so I don't want you to hear. Oh, nom nom.
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool, nom nom nom.
Yeah, it's fine. Otherwise, this is basically just a generic ranger.
All right, so nothing soul crushingly game breaking.
Yeah, there's only one game breaking thing that every GM has agreed with me on, and that is the Ranger Talent additional animal companion. That's just a little bit broken.
That would have been like,
but we get to strike that from the record.
Okay.
It's been struck from the record, and I'm more than happy to strike it myself. Everything else is stuff like trackless step, uncanny senses.
Because I was about to say, if you have like 2 animal companions,
Yeah.
If you have 2 animal companions and they're both at the same level, we got a house rule something around.
Yeah.
I gotta drink something. Hold on.
That's fine. Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit behind. I kind of passed out and took a nap.
Didn't I just say I just woke? Oh, that's right. You weren't here when I said I just woke up from a nap.
Yeah. Well, fat and lazy gamers.
That and I woke up early so I could catch the first showing of Kingsman because I didn't want to pay more than $6 for a ticket.
Oh, nice. What'd you think of it?
It's good, just not as good as the original, but it's the original.
Well, that's the thing. It's basically the original with a little bit less silliness, and it's a touch more serious, in my opinion.
Yeah. The only thing I did. Oh shit! I don't know if what's his name saw it or not because I was about to go into spoilers. Kiri.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen Kingsman: The Golden Circle yet?
Nope.
Do you want to see it?
Maybe, but I really wouldn't mind either way.
Okay, then we'll hold off on spoilers.
I just haven't had really time because I am in a master's program.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll hold off on spoilers.
Yep. But if you if you are a little on the fence about seeing it or not because of quality, it's still a good movie. It's just it's different from the original, in my opinion. Ty says it's not as good in his opinion.
Well, I haven't seen either, so I'd be going in very neutral.
Okay. Oh, Ty, for favorite enemies at because I get one at first level. Any hint, hint, nudge, nudge? I'm going to be a nice GM thing you're going to point out, or are we going to have a pretty wide swath of enemies?
Once again, chewing food.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, I know that feeling. I just got a pizza out of the oven.
Well, obviously you'll be dealing with humans as well. Humans initially, because well, the guys in the black cloaks.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll probably just do that. A humanoid human is just one of the most common ones to get for a ranger, and I can easily explain on my character's backstory why he's good against humans. Is just he's been sparring with them for years since he was a child.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I meant to say humanoid people, so yeah.
yeah. Well, human is just the most common type of that.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. But I already know my path for favorite terrains. I usually go forest as the first one, and then just whatever is fairly common after that. And are we running with the? I forgot. Are we running with the uh, uh, Pathfinder feat text rules?
What are those? That's the one thing I'm at lost on.
Oh, it basically it's kind of an alternative list of feats. It modifies existing ones or replaces them outright to reduce the number of feats required to do a lot of things in Pathfinder. The good examples are things like point blank shot are just gone, and the prerequisite anything that's prerequisite to point blank shot instead is precise shot. So ranged characters start with precise shot, which is far more useful. Weapon finesse is just a thing that everyone effectively gets for free.
Oh, wow.
Power attack you get for free once you have a +1. Same with what was it? Deadly aim.
All right, we'll go with that.
Yeah, it also kind of combines a lot of different improved insert maneuver here feats, and it rolls them into one of two categories: death maneuvers and powerful maneuvers. But I'll drop it off in Dragons from the D&D chat. Are we using the Pathfinder gods, or do you have a custom pantheon?
I had no pantheon in mind, so if you want to use a Pathfinder god, go right ahead.
Okay. I'm going to be using Desna. And since we're doing the feat text rules, that means I can kind of become a switch hit ranger. Kind of.
I'm picturing you of a switch hitting bat right now.
Well, it's just a term. Basically, I do a lot of bow stuff, but every once in a while I'll get into melee with 2 light weapons.
And you go through quite a process when you're ready to buy, and then you put up the money in advance. So there was a young fellow there that had finally made it, and he was going through all the bureaus and agencies that he had to go through and signing all the papers, and finally got to that last agency where they put the stamp on it. And the man then that had made the final stamp of the paper, taking the money, said, "All right, come back in 10 years and get delivery of your car." And he said, "Morning or afternoon?" And the fella said, "Well, 10
did
years
Jim
from
have
now,
any
what difference does it
preference
make?"
what type of
He
character he
said,
wanted
"The
to play
plumber's
as?
coming in the morning."
The bard.
Okay, yeah. Those are pretty simple to play for a newbie.
Yeah, just trying to see like what exactly like each of our abilities go with.
Yeah. Well, Bard can cover some of the healing as well as some of the magic. They're great combat buffers and often have a lot of out of combat useful abilities. Like they are always highly skilled and often are the face of the party. It's either them, a cleric, or a paladin, or a rogue. One of those three classes usually is the party face. I'm covering ranged fighting. Kira, what are you wanting to play as?
Fighter.
Okay, so you're gonna be, the brick.
front line, man.
Yeah, I'm a dwarf.
Oh, great. My character's a drow. We're gonna get along great.
Whatever, Docky.
And already the campaign's gonna be interesting.
Don't worry, my guy is neutral good, bordering on lawful good. The only reason why he's still technically neutral good is because he still understands every once in a while you have to break the rules to do something good.
My guy's belief is this. He may have his prejudice against certain races, but if they can match him drink for drink, then they at least earn some of his respect.
Yeah, Vikram's probably going to pass the fuck out halfway through that.
He'd at least still give you some respect because you're willing to try.
Yeah. So it's myself, Kiri,
and
Jim Pan
and we get
are the current.
And we get a fourth. We'll set up some reason how he got there.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any problem with the leadership feat and getting a cohort?
What's the leadership feat? Give me.
At 7th level, you can pick up this general feat called leadership. What it allows you to do is take on a cohort, and then later on you can get these followers, but I usually ignore them because they're pretty useless, to be completely honest. And what a cohort is it's basically like a weak player character that fights alongside your character, and what was it? And can have some out of combat utility. They are built using heroic NPC rules, and at best, they're 2 levels weaker. At the outright strongest, with one exception with a certain class, they're 2 levels weaker than the rest of the party. So they've got weaker stats and weaker level, but they still generally keep up with the party.
Okay, given the fact that I might, DM wink wink, by Act 2 you might be facing some Ace Devils. Yeah, you can have that because you might need it.
Oh, good. I'm planning on bringing a paladin along. Traditional sword and board. And don't worry, Kiri. I think even your character is going to find her. She's an elf that hates drow far more than any dwarf could. I think even he's going to go like, well, come on, lass. He's not that bad. I mean, he tried to actually enjoy drinks with me.
Yep. He kind of hold his liquor, but he tries.
Father,
but evil.
Who
but
are these adventurers that I have to go with?
but evil drow trickery. He's up to something.
Yeah, meanwhile, the fighter turns his head and you see he's wearing one of those like helmets with like 2 straws in it with the beer going into his mouth. And he's going, nah, he's fine.
Yeah.
Get one of those beer hats.
I feel sorry for the half elf princess that had to go with you on some of these missions.
And I'll try and interest her, try and get her into some dwarven whiskey. That should be
Oh,
interesting.
boy.
Now she takes a sip, she probably passes out.
And don't worry about what's the best way to say it? When you do rest, don't worry about her because her backstory is, well, my mom trained me in basic hunting gathering, so I could take care of myself on the field. I just can't kill anything that can actually kill me. So,
What are you talking about?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going with a traditional sword and board paladin. Nothing too with a twist. 3 levels of fighter. There's a reason for this. I'm making a highly mobile paladin. Yeah, at 3rd level, fighters get, and you should know this, Kiri. They get that armor mastery training, and I think it's at 7th level they get the super version of that. But at level 3, as long as you're wearing medium or lighter armor, you're not affected by speed penalties. And what I do is
I'm not affected by speed penalties as a dwarf.
Oh yeah, we could just load you up with all this crap, and you're just like, and you just start singing and just walk at the same speed as everyone else.
Yep.
But what I do is I basically throw her into Mithril full plate, and what Mithril full plate does, and this is the reason why I always recommend Mithril as a material for armor, unless you're a dwarf, which just ignores it, is it reduces its in everything but requirement for feet to down 1 level. So heavy becomes medium, medium becomes light, light just stays light.
So basically, the Mithril effect.
Yeah, it makes it so that it's treated as light, as medium armor for her, and she can just run around the battlefield at full speed because she's got that armor mastery training. Yeah, and you know what's. But yeah, but if we were playing a more sci-fi version of Pathfinder, she's a gunslinger paladin, not a fighter paladin. Eventually, we'll end up with an assault rifle.
Yeah, I noticed. Guns are a thing.
Depends on what Ty wants. There's different levels of guns. Jim Pan just got home.
Oh, okay.
Our favorite Swede.
I would say nothing above a flintlock pistol.
Let me quickly double check what that one is. There's actually a specific term for it in firearms.
Okay.
I think it's emerging firearms, but I can never remember. It's the standard one, and GMs, it can or cannot allow advanced firearms, but again, that's up to the GM. Here it is, firearms. Yeah, you're going with emerging guns. Firearms are becoming more common. They're mass-produced by small guilds, lone gunsmiths, dwarven clans, maybe even a nation or two, the secret slipping out, and the occasional rare adventure using the gun. The baseline gunslinger rules and prices for ammo given in this chapter are for this type of campaign. Early firearms are available, but are relatively rare. Adventurers who want to use guns must take the gunsmithing feat just to make them a feasible weapon. Advanced firearms may exist, but only as rare and wondrous items, the stuff of high-level treasure troves. You can technically make them as a gunslinger, but it takes a lot of GM approval. Because if you actually look at the difference between basic and advanced firearms, they're game changers. Basic firearms only work at really close range.
Yeah,
I can
tell you there's only going to be one town you're going to find guns, and that's going to be stealth more, and that's usually the dwarven town where most of the manufacturing and machining starts. The one that looks like a fortress because I had nothing else that looked similar to what I want it to be.
Yep. Oh, I'm gonna be welcome in that town. Good thing I walk around with a cloak and half cloth face mask.
I'd be fitting in right fine.
Speak for yourself.
they'll probably welcome you for drink and tell everybody else to fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, what if I give Seawall's character that beer hat?
Yeah, he might.
I don't think it'll work. I mean, he's a drow. Remember, drow kind of have a tendency to try and raid dwarven settlements and dwarven mining operations.
I thought that was mostly like a 3-5 thing.
No, drow live underground in this one. It's just they came about slightly differently.
Ah, okay.
Between the drow and that bitch of a princess, I'm lucky I don't throw you out of town. But you look like a good dwarf. Come in and get a drink. The rest of you, the door's over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I do Constitution checks to see if I outdrink everybody.
You probably will. You're a fighter. You
Yep.
have a boosted fortitude.
Mm-hmm. The fortitude is 17. Not fortitude, Constitution.
So basically, the only place, if we had a gunslinger, if you were to have to buy equipment at some point, the only place you would find it is this dwarven city, or maybe in one of the larger towns, there might be a guild that's doing it.
Assuming there's no underground black market.
Yeah, but black markets often increase prices. And also, in this case, it wouldn't really be a black market, it's just the items are rare. Yeah.
Yeah, they're legal. It's just good luck finding anyone that will sell it at not insane prices.
But yeah, the next level up is called Commonplace Guns. While still expensive and tricky to wield, early firearms are readily available. Instead of requiring exotic weapons proficiency, all firearms are martial weapons. Early firearms and their ammunition cost 25% of the amount listed in this book, but advanced firearms and their ammunition are still rare and cost full price to purchase or craft. So basically, it unlocks advanced firearms without GM approval once you go to Commonplace, and a lot of other characters can start using them. But there are a couple of negatives with firearms you got to be careful about, and that is misfire. If you when you look on guns, you basically see the little misfire tab. If you roll that on the 20-sided dice, the gun basically critically fails, and it gets damaged, which reduces its effectiveness, and also increases the misfire chance. Unless you're a gunslinger, gunslingers have this clear jam ability, where they can use a standard action to clear a jam, unless you're this one very specific type of gunslinger. Oh, it's Mr. Pan.
Hello.
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 How are you doing?
I am good.
So you're going to be our singing monkey, bard of the party.
Yes.
As a heads up, I'm already recording this for session 0.
Yeah. Not recording session 0. This is just us BSing.
Well, okay, BSing.
Yeah. Well, that's what a session 0 is: BSing and talking characters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't mind me. I'm actually going through the monsters list to see, okay, which ones can I pluck up and help make your life miserable other than humans and what I just mentioned earlier?
Yeah. Oh, the usual stuff. Medusas, beholders.
Are they actually called Medusas, or?
I don't know. I know a succubus is going to get evolved, just as a warning.
Good thing I usually grab Evil Outsider as a favored enemy.
I always found it weird that intimidate is always reliant on your charisma. You figured that'd be more like maybe charisma or strength, whichever's higher.
It's just a balancing thing. I never got it either.
Yeah, because you'd figure like some guy that's carrying like Guts' sword basically looks at you says, "Buy me a beer." That should let me use their strength roll instead, considering what they're carrying.
Well, I know in 4th edition there was a belt that you could get that lets you use strength instead of charisma. Yep. So, Jim Pan, any particular thoughts on your bard? Here's also a link to the bard class sheet.
Also, just as a heads up, yes, it is called Medusa.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Don't really know.
Okay. Well, there's a series of different what I would call builds for bards. Some are more martial, some are more magical. One of the what is it called? There's actually a really crazy one that exists. Hold on. Ah, damn it, I'm not finding it. But basically, it allows you to summon the dead to help you in fighting.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called. But you replace one of your songs that you can do with a song that you perform, that a song or dance that you perform that just causes all of the corpses around you to turn into zombies under your command. I just can't find it.
Remind me not to throw in superpowered corpses at you.
Here it is, the Dirge Bard, Dance of the Dead. At 10th level, a Dirge Bard can use his bardic performance to cause dead bodies, to use dead bones, or bodies to rise up and move and fight at his command. This ability functions like Animate the Dead, but create skeleton zombies remain fully animated only as long as the Dirge Bard continues to the performance. Once it stops, any created undead collapse into carrion. Bodies or bones cannot be animated more than once using this ability. Unlike Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead requires no components and does not have the evil descriptor. Yeah, there's a thing called archetypes in Pathfinder that lets you slightly modify your class by trading certain abilities for other abilities.
Okay.
So yeah, but since you're new to Pathfinder, just a generic bard would probably work the best. I think there's a guide for building bards out there. Would you like me to send that to you?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can't track it down.
The way I'm thinking is if he does do that Dance of the Dead thing, the first time we enter a graveyard, he should do like that skeleton dance thing from the cartoon. Recreate that. Yeah, that'll get us kicked out of town.
I would love to say the words, well, now I'm not going to put in a graveyard, but you see a tomb right on the map.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're still, even though it might not be evil, it's still technically desecration of graves, and I've got a feeling that our good friend Jim Pan here probably is on the neutral or good side of things.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Testing.
I can hear you.
We
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
we can.
Okay, good.
Can you hear
Yes.
us?
Yes, I can now. Yes, I can. Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got the it's a Google Doc a guy made a while back. Gives you suggestions for different builds and things like that.
Okay.
Yep. I've used them in the past to help build my characters. And also, I linked some. I also linked in the D&D chat. There's something called the Elephant Room feat taxes in Pathfinder. We are using those rules, which means you actually have more. So when you're looking at feats, double check those ones to make sure that feats you are considering aren't modified in some way or
Race specific.
yeah. No, not race specific. The feat tax rules change them. Actually, make so you have access to more feats in the game, and you can do more things with less feats. So yeah. So the main archetypes this guy's pointing out are what is it? The archer bard, the melee bard, the controller bard. Sorry.
Mm.
Yeah, those are kind of the three general ways you do it.
Mm.
I've got to step away for a while, guys. Dinner.
Okay.
Alright, no problem.
Okay.
Anyone see that giant Eagles game at the end?
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
And the Giants lose again.
Yep. It's like a systematic series of how to shoot yourself in the foot. Let's get 2 back-to-back penalties while we're trying to get into field goal range. Let's give the Eagles just enough time, literally, to get into field goal range and finish us off. Provided it was a 61-yard shot, but...
Howdy, gentlemen. I'm back.
Hey, quick question for you.
Yes.
With the skills, it's still the same like as it is in 3.5. It's like whatever it is plus your bonus times 4 for the first level, correct?
No, not at all. Pathfinder actually makes a much simpler and nicer system. Every level you get X amount of skill points, and anything that is a trained class skill, when you put your first point into it, you get a +3. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically a bonus that stacks with everything.
All right, so that'd be like, I'm guessing, the ACP, or would that be the Myth?
No. Okay, are you using Mythweavers?
Yes.
Just you'll see like this thing called CC. Tick anything that is listed in your class skills.
Yeah, those are cross skills, so.
No. That's not cross skills anymore. It's class skills.
Oh, okay.
Not just CC, it's like class skill. It's just called class skills now. So just invert them in this case.
Okay.
And you get what was it? Sorry, I'm trying to remember. Pathfinder versus 3.5 rules. You get on your using the PFSRD, the SRD. You'll find that each class they have the list of skills and the number of skill points per level, and it's always X amount. Certain classes have more, other classes have less. Fighters, since you have 2+ intelligence, and you can also get an additional +1. You said you're being a dwarf, so it doesn't apply for racial, but you can get a plus, and you can get a +1. What's called favored class, because everyone gets at least one favored class to play with, and you can either get +1 to your HP per level or +1 to your skills per level. So you have to. So with fighters, most people usually go +1 health, unless they already have a ridiculous amount of health, and they just go +1. What was it? Skills. Then they just +1 +1 skills. It's your choice. But you can also choose. I've never actually met somebody who's done it, but there is another thing you can do where you can get a racial favored class bonus. But in the case of a fighter for if you're a dwarf, add +1 to the fighter's CMD when resisting a bull rush or trip. I've never found one quite that useful, to be completely honest.
Okay.
So, yeah. What type of a weapon you gonna be going with? A good old dwarven hammer?
Yeah. One of the nice things is, as long as it has the word dwarven in it, it's effectively a martial weapon.
And fighters get all martial weapons.
Yes, but there's some really good dwarven weapons that are listed as exotic.
Yep.
But
yeah.
Why am I picturing you crushing some poor dude's skull in?
Theoretically, I could do that if I go with the Orgrosh.
Yeah, exotic weapons get pretty crazy.
Which gets me 2 attacks per. I think it's 2 attacks. No, I see. It's the piercing does D8 and slashing does D6. Okay.
Okay, it's in that case, I'm going to tell you right now that is a double weapon. And double weapons, basically, what happens with them is they're a two-handed weapon, but that when you are doing an attack with both sides, the second number there is considered the offhand weapon, and it's also considered a light weapon because it is designed to do multi-attacks. Yeah. But you have the option of something like the long hammer or the long axe, which give you reach.
I'm guessing that's like, instead of like a plus 5 feet, that's 10 feet distance or something.
Kind of. When you're dealing with a reach weapon, the weapons you have threat distance of 10, but the thing is, you have to be you cannot attack anything that's directly next to you with a reach weapon. So yeah, it's an unfortunate rule, but hey. So, but the Uragosh, it does D8, D6, not bad for a weapon, weighs 12 pounds, piercing or slashing. So it works with either side, piercing or slashing. So, oh wait, never mind. Axe head and a spear point on the opposite end of a long haft.
Yep. Axe does D8, spear does D6.
Yep. Oh, you can use either head as a primary weapon. The other benefit, the other the offhand weapon. If you're using an Uragosh against a charging character, the spear's head is part of the weapon. Is part of the head that deals damage. So yeah, and it's got a racial affinity bonus. There are other pretty good ones. So you're not going to go what I call sorted board, where you have a shield and then a one-handed weapon.
Nope.
Okay.
But
you get a double axe.
Yep, I basically have a double axe. 2 attacks in a turn, baby.
No. But there's the dwarven double axe where you have a two-headed axe.
Let's see, where are you?
It's an exotic single-handed. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And if you pick up the right feats, you can be a dual weapon with a shield because you can do shield slams. I think though you're a little bit less worried about getting hit, more worried about crushing things. So the Uragosh will actually be a pretty cool weapon to use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just remember, make sure to always carry a blunt weapon as well, just in case.
Yep.
Never go into battle without a blunt weapon.
Oh, it's not like I'm going to set up skeletons or anything.
In that case, I'll go with the Dorn Dargar, which is also another dwarven weapon.
Where's that one hanging out?
Exotic, 2-handed melee.
Reach. You do realize that's pretty heavy of a weapon. It's a chain flail. Oh, this is a rare one. You can change it between a normal weapon and a reach weapon. With a move action. This one's rare. So actually, this one's quite useful to you. Because you can equip it as just a regular non-reach weapon.
Or if I want to reach out and touch somebody.
Yep. I'm just going to be your generic machine gunner. You'll see an enemy to get 8 arrows in the side of his head and just fall over.
And meanwhile, I'll be basically source code erroring these guys out of the screen.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
Yep. Yeah. So let's see. I fill our ranged combat category. Jim Pan's kind of going down the magic-y Healy route.
Mm-hmm. Seems that way.
Yeah, and you're going down the I am the brick shithouse. Good luck.
Yep.
And I'm also going to, because we only have 3 guys, I'm definitely going to be grabbing the leadership. So I've got that little paladin cohort to give us some extra cover.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Skill points, blah. Let's see. Next step. Allocating skill points. Okay. So +3 bonus for each point you put in. That's just your first point.
Also, I think we're all going to hate goblins with the equally same passion.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Kiri, did you figure out that point buy calculator that I pointed you to?
Yeah.
Okay, that's very helpful. And what's the limit of your dude?
Neutral good.
Nice, you match me. We're neutral good buddies. There are a lot of advantages about being a good guy. The people like you, which means, local. You can get good discounts at local shops. The local church might be willing to put you up if you got a religious member in your party. That moment when you're not sure what to do.
Protect the world from devastation?
Now I have a single point left for my ability scores. I'm going to be going with a basically my builds are 12, 18, 10, 15, 14, 10. Because I can live without the Constitution and Charisma. I'm a goddamn ranger.
Yeah.
Ah.
I have 18, 14, 17, 10, 10, 8.
Yeah.
Hey.
So
I'm a dwarf.
You're not exactly a deep thinker.
Yeah, I took away 2 points from wisdom because I'm not a deep thinker. Thus, that gave me a few extra points to play with.
Yeah. I took it out of charisma, but the thing is, as a drow, charisma is one of your racial, so it basically doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. You know what? I'm gonna go with a more balanced build. I like having the extra skill points, but we have a bard in the party, so instead my build's going to be 14 strength, 18 dex, 10 con, 14 intelligence, 14 wisdom, no charisma. So I'm a little bit better at switch hitting.
Yeah. I mean, the charisma takes a hit, but they're dwarfs.
Well, I mean, I'm a drow, and no one cares about drow. They hate us. They hate us all. So, Jim Pan, have you decided on a race yet?
No. Any suggestions?
Bards are charisma-based characters when it comes to their spell casting, which also gives them a couple of very good advantages with things like a use magical device, which keys off of charisma normally.
Okay.
One suggestion I would have for you is at some point pick up a wand of Cure Light Wounds and just hide it in your sleeve with a little spring-loaded thing.
Okay.
It's just a great way to be, a very useful healer as a bard if you're not going a straight healing bard, which are kind of tricky builds. But race-wise, anything that gives you charisma, so, human, half-elf would both be good options because you can choose which one to put it into. There's a series of other races that'll give it to you. Yeah. Let's see. Oh. The BS race. The Azamar. They get a +2 charisma and +2 to wisdom with no negative trait. With no negative. It's BS.
BS race.
The BS race.
Well, I have a feeling when I look at this character sheet, like, okay, now I gotta actually bring out some big guns.
Yeah, Catfolk wouldn't be a bad option. Dexterity, charisma, a little loss of wisdom. Ifrit's the same thing. Weirdly enough, Drow actually would be a decent option. Gnomes. The troll race, as it's called. I'm not joking. They are the troll race.
I'm picturing Roll from Marvel vs.
Halfling. Halfling is an option as well.
I'm thinking Catfolk.
Okay. Okay, Catfolk. Yeah, +2 dex, +2 charisma, -2 wisdom. Medium creatures, base speed 30 feet. Yeah, normal. Languages is common in Catfolk, so you don't need to buy it. Defensive abilities. Cat's Luck. Once per day, when a Catfolk makes a reflex saving throw, he can roll the saving throw twice and take the better result. He must decide to use his ability before the saving throw is attempted. That's actually very useful. Natural Hunter. +2 racial bonus on perception, stealth, and survival checks. Sprinter. Catfolk gain a 10-foot racial bonus to their speed when using charge, run, or withdraw actions. Always useful. Low light vision. There's some alternate options. I'll see if there's anything that is uniquely interesting. Nimble Faller. Some catfolk have amazing sense of balance and keen knowledge of their own center of gravity. Catfolk with this trait land on their feet even when they take lethal damage from a fall. Furthermore, catfolk with this trait gain a +1 CMD against trip maneuvers. So you'll lose Sprinter, but you basically make it harder to trip you, and you land on your feet because you're a cat. Jungle Sprinter. Okay, such catfolk get a +2 racial bonus to acrobatics checks and can ignore the first square of difficult terrain caused by foliage each round. This racial trait replaces Cat's Luck and Sprinter. Yeah, just from the basics, it's catfolk's not a bad choice.
I see a feat I must work to get.
What feat is that?
What's that?
Awesome Blow. Strength 25. Power attack. Improved Bull Rush. Though I'm going to need someone to magic me to be larger.
Yeah.
With that, I can send my opponents flying.
Are you going to pull a giant catapult, a giant's catapult maneuver from Skyrim?
Oh, if we can get somebody that can magic me to become big and I have those abilities, hell yeah.
Well, there are ways to get enlarged person ability, like potions would be a good way to do it. Unless a mage joins the party. Yeah, let me just kind of skim through some of this stuff. Japan, do you want to be a more melee-centered bard or a more range-centered bard? Or do you want to just be controlling the battlefield? Okay, range. So you'd be an archer type.
Yeah. Hmm.
Let's see. You won't be able to start with a master pension. Okay. Do you want what type of performance do you want to do?
Hmm.
There's a lot of options. You can be an orator, basically telling stories. You can be a comedian. You can be what was it? You can you can sing. You can dance. You can play an instrument.
I would say just play an instrument.
What was that? Play instrument.
Yes.
Just remember one thing when it comes to instruments: they do take up your hands in combat.
Or sing sounds better.
Yep, singing works.
Yeah, sings.
Yep. Yeah, singing is useful. And hey, you can actually get money by singing.
Yeah.
I think I might be the only wise person in the party.
How so?
Looking at the kind of that's 15.5, but basically one of the recommended build for an archer bard is is to make wisdom your dump stat.
Hmm.
And catfolk wisdom is their weak stat. So, well, we can always modify it, and I don't think Ty is going to be going for the you must be a min maxer to play this game and not die.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, yeah. I guess I'm not going to be the only arrow machine gun in the party.
That's just mean. And I can just imagine how I'd use it. The feat bludgeoner. And just imagine me using a
Dwarven
that
hammer.
not the hammer, that basically like flail thing.
Yep.
I'm knocking you unconscious. Ignore the spikes.
I was about to say, you're knocking me unconscious with a spiked weapon. I don't think you're doing that good of a job.
Actually, that means I'm doing a very skilled job.
Yeah, a little too skilled of a job.
Hey, the feat would allow it. Unless you're going to be saying, no, if it has spikes on it, it doesn't work.
I'm just going to double check, see if there's a good archetype for an archer-based bard for you.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be the Arrow Song Minstrel.
Hmm.
Oh. An Arrow Song Minstrel does lose a couple of things, but nothing too crazy. Distraction, not very useful. Fascinate, not very useful. And inspire confidence. Suggestion, Dire of Doom. Smooth performance, mass suggestion, versatile performance. I've just got to read through what it does specifically. Yep. Okay. The Arrow Song Minstrel is a kind of an interesting trade-off. You lose your bardic knowledge, which a bard adds half his class level, minimum 1, to all knowledge skill checks, and may make all knowledge skill checks untrained. That is a useful one. Kind of being having knowledge is very useful for figuring out what's going on. But in exchange for the Arcane Archer at first level, she selects a number of spells from the Sorcerer Wizard spell list equal to her Charisma modifier and adds them to her Bard spell list as Bard spells at the same level. The selected spells must not already be on this Bard spell list and must be a 6th level or lower. At 4th level and every 4 levels thereafter, she adds an additional Sorcerer Wizard spell to her Bard spell list. An Arrow Song Minstrel is limited to the following spells when adding spells or spells in manner: Acid Arrow, Arrow Eruption, Flame Arrow, Gravity Bow, Greater Magic Weapon, Long Shot, Magic Weapon, Protected from Arrows, Spectral Hand, True Strikes. Yeah. I don't think actually. I'm kind of looking at this. The Arrow Song Minstrel is not that good unless you want to stick with a longbow. There are other weapons that a bard can use, and there are ways to get an arrow, get a bow. I'm gonna see what it suggests. Basically, you will probably be using a crossbow.
Okay.
With the rapid reload feat attached to it. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah. So what we need to round out this party technically would be a cleric or an oracle.
Mm-hmm.
So now you need someone to come in to play the cleric or the oracle.
Exactly.
Oh, so HP isn't determined by rolling and adding Constitution modifier.
Well, there's kind of a house rule that a lot of GMs that I also recommend, that which have max HP first level.
So, for example, like where it's as it's
You're
fighter,
a fighter, it's a D10, so it's 10 plus your Constitution modifier plus any other various bonuses you might have.
all right, so 13 for the moment.
Yeah, that's if Ty's cool with that.
Are you, Ty?
Yeah.
It makes us a touch less squishy. About the
I was about to
first
say,
four
it
levels,
makes
characters are squishy.
I'm about to say, it also makes sure I don't have to go, okay, how do I adjust these so that they don't one-shot you? So that is a party wipe in the beginning.
Well, early game, the trick is just to try and get as much damage on the field as possible. As players, basically, we kind of huddle up. We hope that our, crappy armor that we found lying on the side of the road is good enough, and we just try and hit hard and quick, and then we just work our way up. Because eventually, once you start getting into magic armors and having just crap loads of potions or a healer in the party, you can just go, "Oh, you just took away half my health. Ha ha ha! This does not affect me, Mr. Healer Bot. Save me." And then stabby, stabby, stab, stab, stab.
So the first few levels is, oh god, it's a boar. He's looking at me wrong. And by the end, you're just walking up to bailers and slapping them in the face, just because you're bored.
Yeah. Well, because we all have, and Jimpan, this will also affect you, making you slightly decent at switch hit fighting.
Okay.
We have the weapon finesse feat for free, effectively. So you can use for various weapons. You can use your dex instead of your strength for the attack. Strength for damage always. There's only like one way to get dex to damage, but it's a very specific build. It's called the Dervish Dancer build, and you have to use a scimitar. You have to have a couple of levels of dance and do all these other really weird things to get it.
Okay.
And it's, again, a very specific build. Usually you only find it for Magi, weirdly enough. The spell swords.
Hmm.
Oh god, irresistible dance is a spell. I didn't know that existed.
Oh god, what is that?
I've got to look at this.
Yes, please.
I assume everyone's getting their own tent, right?
I'll have one.
I'm about to say, you assume you
All right,
guys
so
get
I'll be
one.
okay.
We start out with just we start out as a bunch of murder hobos that are lucky to have a sleeping bag, and we end up being a bunch of murder hobos that have this like pavilion tent with our own personal rooms, 8 horses outside, but we're still murder hoboing our way across the land. Yeah.
All right, so save a little money, get the small tent. No need for the medium for now.
Yeah, it'll fit one medium creature. Plus, I'm sure that if we get like a bunch of loot and we want to make sure people don't see what it is, we just set it. You'll be okay with bunking it under the stars for a night. We just stuff it in there.
Mm.
Yeah. You'll also be the one with dark vision because I believe dwarves come with dark vision, or is it low light?
Dark vision.
Yeah, I trade out my dark vision and light weakness for low light. It's an alternate racial choice for Drow. Very useful,
noticed.
actually. Yep. So, Jim Pan, is there any sort of ranged weapon that you would specifically like to play with?
No. No.
Ah. Bows are usually the standard, but crossbows also have their effectiveness. One thing that just as a thought, if there is kind of a hybrid path that I've done before with a character that uses a whip.
Okay.
Because whip is actually one of... Oh, sorry, never mind. Bards get short bows, so you'll be fine. Never mind. Yeah. You don't need a long bow, just go with a short bow. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here, moving right along.
Like, yeah, none of this happened. Moving right along.
Yeah, short bow is not as powerful as, your traditional long bow, but hey, it works. And if we get you the composite short bow...
Yeah, that adds strength. That adds your strength damage as well.
You have to get it built to that specific one, and it's good until you get... There is a upgrade you can get for bows that allows it to be versatile with strength, but it's kind of up there in cost. And by that point, you're probably switching to a dark wood or a green wood bow.
Yeah.
The dark wood bow weighs less. The green wood bow can repair itself. Both are very useful weapons. Unfortunately,
what was that?
Oops. Yes, no. Yep. Sorry.
You alright over there?
Has war been declared?
Yeah.
War was declared.
No.
I think we fucked up already. North Korea finally got missiles.
Wow, they really went on course. They hit the Swiss?
The Swedes.
The Swedes?
I've seen Japan.
Oh, they fucked up then if they hit the Swedes. No one's going to sympathize with them anymore.
Well, if they nuke anyone but themselves, no one's going to sympathize. Because if they nuke themselves, we just feel bad for them. Like, oh.
I think Japan's just waiting for a reason to stomp them.
Japan doesn't have a military to stomp them.
Actually, they no longer have only a self-defense army. They actually made a new law so they can have a standing army.
Oh, we finally released them from the treaty. Are they arming up?
I believe so.
But hey, I think last time I checked, the Japanese and the South Koreans were on okay-ish terms, mainly because they both hate North Korea and China. And one of those two is not going to exist in the near future. I think my money's currently on North Korea.
I'm about to say, depends on who fucks up the worst.
Yeah. Okay. Jim Pan.
Okay.
A short bow, just to let you know, is actually a decent little weapon. A short bow does D6 damage and has a range of 60 feet and weighs 2 pounds.
That's good.
Yep. A longbow, which is what I'm going to be getting a hold of, has a range of 100 feet, and I'll explain range in a second, and does a D6 damage, a D8 damage. So it's a little bit stronger, but not by much. And the composite short bow can be built like the composite longbow, where it has that kind of extra strength requirement added into it. So yeah. and the composite shortbow has a range increment of 70 feet. But in most engagements, I've never seen an engagement where I've needed more than 60 feet to work with. It's very rare. So so you might, in some rare situations, have to go one range increment beyond, but that's only a -2, so it's not really the end of the world.
Okay.
So yeah. And I think at that point, basically, we're just because over time we're going to get to the point where we just have that crazy base attack bonus. You'll be firing something like, if you use a somewhat ranger style build, which you might be able to pull off with feats, not fully, you'll probably be firing 4 to. Okay, if you get a rapid bow, that's 5. Okay, you'll be firing between 5 to maybe 6 arrows per round. Rangers are a little bit scarier. Let me pull it up. Outright minimum, a ranger fires rapid shot. That gives me 1. Then the rapid bow gives me. Okay, so that's 2 on top of that. 7. I launch 7 arrows once we reach our maximum base attack bonus. So every round, there's like 13 arrows just flying through the air at things. We're going to need a lot of arrows.
Yeah.
And remember, each round is 6 seconds.
Yep.
So Kiri, how are you going to enjoy just having enemies slump in front of you with just all these arrows in their back?
I was saying, your porcupine impressions suck.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how many times you're going to try to pull the arrow.
And I was realizing,
out.
as a dwarf, I don't have to spend any money on lanterns or any sort of light source.
Yeah, though your dark vision's only out to what?
60
30
feet.
feet? 60 feet. Sorry, Drow have the crazy good one at 120.
Yeah, but all of these things, the bullseye lantern is the only thing that would match my dark vision. I normal light at 60 feet, but beyond that, kind of 120 feet.
And because all characters in the party, including my cohort at 7th level, have low light vision, we could just bring a instead of bringing the sun rods, we bring moon rods.
Bring a what?
A moon rod.
What's this? Moon rod.
A moon rod is basically like a sun rod, but it only casts dim light. Makes it easier to sneak around without being noticed.
Well, I assume that if I have glove with dark, actually, it'd be kind of pointless since I have dark vision. I see.
Yeah, but the rest of us need to see. and the 2 sneaky characters have low light vision, not dark vision.
Yep. Might buy firewood depending upon if I know when we're starting. Actually, with my axe, I could just chop down wood.
Yeah, or I just find it. Ranger. Mm-hmm. I have the survival skill. I will come back pretty much at a certain point, I just basically come back with what you guys requested. How did you find an armadillo in the Arctic? I'm a ranger. I come back with an armadillo, a rattlesnake, and a gazelle. And we're in the Arctic. Where did you get those?
I'm a ranger.
I'm a ranger. We're just that good.
Is that a chupacabra?
No, that's a goblin that tried to steal my kill. I kind of decided not to waste an arrow on him and just use my fists.
Well, that explains why his face looks like worse than a goblin's.
Exactly. Also, the hawk may have ripped out his eyes with her beak.
Wait, what? Oh, that hawk.
Yes, the hawk that sits on my shoulder or just flies around. Oh, and I will pay for I technically can't have an animal companion at 1st level, but I will pay for the hawk in gold value, and I'll just ask if it's okay for it to be already trained with a few things. I will have, it basically, what I train it to do is if we enter combat, it just hides nearby. It's not a combat hawk. She helps me hunt. That's about it. Starting at early levels, then eventually she does other things like technically keep on guard duty and keep an eye out for things and alert us.
While you guys actually get full nights of sleep.
Well, yeah.
As much as you guys can.
Yeah. Well, technically, I think it's 8 hours. Yeah, we only need to be doing light activity during that time. We don't actually need to sleep for 8 hours, just light activity. So you do the standard shift thing, where you have so many hours with each person.
I'm about to say 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, and by then you guys
roughly,
are
yeah. Well, yeah, you also do need 1 hour. Well, for your magic use, you do need that 1 hour of quiet contemplation while you get your spells back. So. Yeah. Well.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna get something.
No problem.
Refill my drink.
Yeah. But yeah, Japan, I've given you the kind of build guide for bards. Kind of look at Archer Bard or the Ranged Bard.
Okay.
It'll give you kind of an idea what to go with, and we're starting at level 1. So it will give you a recommended skill list. You don't have to get everything. Just use the SRD to look up the various stats you need to, and Kiri can show you how to use the ability score calculator. Yeah, the ability score calculator.
Mm.
We're doing 25-point buy.
Okay.
Yeah. I've done a 30-point buy before. That was interesting. Oh wait, hold it. I'm gonna actually ask Ty something. Our party is small enough to do Gestalt.
What's that?
You get 2 class levels per character level. It's a way you do low number parties.
So basically, like 2 what?
So, an example for my guy, he would be a ranger fighter build. Which would lead to a little bit of insanity, actually. Because all of the feats.
Mm-hmm.
For a bard, you usually go with stuff that synergizes well. So rogue would probably be something I'd recommend. And basically with Gestalt, you take the best of both classes. So you get, but you do still have to work with the requirements. So if your class says that you can't, that you will get an arcane spell failure chance if you're wearing armor above light, you're kind of stuck at light armor. And with rangers, a lot of my abilities have trouble if I start wearing something above light. I have some initial problems above light armor, and I will have all the problems above heavy armor. At heavy armor. But there are ways to kind of work around it if you know what you're doing.
Out of curiosity, where did you see the information about the Gestalts?
Gestalt is not very well documented. I'm going to see if I can find it. Yeah, Gestalt characters. It's from 3.5. You can adapt a lot of things. Yeah, you could adapt a lot of things from 3.5 though. Yeah, here we go. Okay, yeah. Hit dice. Choose the larger hit dice. Base attack bonus. Use the better one. Class skills. Whichever class has the more skill points. Saving throw choose the better one. Gestalt combinations, and yeah, basically that's how. Yeah, basically it's just applying 3.5 rules to Pathfinder because Pathfinder is affectionately called 3.75. because you can actually apply a lot of stuff from 3.5 into Pathfinder. But yeah. And Gestalt doesn't actually double it doesn't actually double the power of a character. It gives about a 30 to 50% boost in abilities. So the games are harder, but when you're playing low man parties, it can be helpful. Yeah. When it comes to a fighter, barbarian is often chosen. Ranger's pretty common. Rogue. Oh, one thing Jim Penn may want to consider is doing a Bard Sorcerer. That's another option.
Yeah.
Or a Bard Oracle.
Uh-huh.
The Oracles do have an interesting side effect on them. They have something called the Oracle's Curse, where they have a negative, but they get these pretty powerful positives.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, an Oracle is the sorcerer equivalent of a cleric. You know how the kind of the thing going on between a mage and a sorcerer? It's the same thing between an oracle and a cleric.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll ask Ty if he's okay with that. So I know Shendu couldn't join us. Was there anyone else who was interested in the game?
Thought Ty said Will.
You mean Yellow?
Assuming I heard him right. All right, so
because if we have four party members, we've got the basic gist of it covered. We'll have the caster, the healer, the punchy guy, the fighter, and the archer, with a little bit of mixing and matching mixed in there. Yeah.
So, like, as far as like writing it down as a class, should I just like write down fighter, barbarian, gestalt, or something?
Well, that's if he allows it. What you basically would do is you would have, when you write down your character classes, you should, if you're using the experimental sheet, I think you would just write down. I think you basically have a little drop in. I can't remember what it was, but you just write down the number of levels and then the class next to it. Like, so you have like fighter and then 5 is in the number, and then you just have a slash, then barbarian 2 / wizard 3 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not using the experimental. I'm just using the regular Pathfinder.
Yeah, the regular. Because I like the experimental.
It just looks exactly like looks exactly like my
3.5 one, yeah. Yeah, it will. Remember, Pathfinder is heavily built on 3.5. It just removed a lot of theory crafting and refined it. Because 3.5 got a little ridiculous when you got stuff like the Chicken Mancer. By 3rd level, you could destroy the entire universe. No, I'm serious.
I'm laughing when you said Chicken Mancer.
Yeah, basically, there's a way you can get NPC levels, and it's a weird thing that you can do with a certain type of magic class, that by 3rd level, you have the power to fill every space in the entire universe with chickens, and then cause it to congeal into a diamond that's destroying the entire universe. So the universe becomes a giant diamond that was originally chickens.
Okay, you gotta give me a minute for my mind to repair.
Question: are you allowing gestalts or no?
Gestalt. I'm trying to remember what that is, but the last game I played, I said no, that's too stupid. That's too much.
Okay, Gestalt is just kind of simply put, for every level we get, a character level, we get 2 class levels of our choice, and we can't take any one class above the level we currently have. So we can't be a level 10 fighter and a level 5 character. It has to be like we can have 5 levels of fighter and then 5 levels of other things.
So, all right, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, basically it's like
because we have
like
small
parties.
Yeah, it's often used for small party.
Yeah, it's only
So
three
I'm
of you.
going.
Yeah,
I'm
it's only
going
three
fighter
of us, so yeah,
ranger.
that would work.
Yeah. Jim Pan. You still want to go bard? Do you, what type of class would you want to kind of pair with bard?
So to put it in Final, Final Fantasy 11 terms, is like a sub job.
Well, you get to pick and choose the best from both.
All right.
Yeah. So in the case of the fighter ranger, there isn't really much to pick and choose between, but the fighter ranger build that I'm talking about, I get the ranger's number of skills and access to fighter skills, but I think the ranger actually has all the same skills the fighter has access to.
Ah.
So it's not exactly a big synergy one, but I basically grab the fighter because I get all the extra feats, and I basically become a combat monster. I am a god! Yeah. Kiri, what would you pair with fighter?
Barbarian.
Let's double check the barbarian stuff. I don't know if the barbarian can wear, if it has negatives, if it's wearing heavy armor. Okay. Oh, fast movement. I forgot they can do that. Barbarian's land speed is faster than normal for her race by plus 10 feet. This benefit only applies when wearing no armor, light armor, or medium armor, and while not carrying heavy loads. Oh god. Oh god. We have a dwarf moving at 30 feet.
Well, unless they still have like the mithril abilities to modify armor.
Oh yeah, they've got that. They still got that. So you can take full plate and just lighten it. So
Yeah,
you're basically in your mithril full plate as a dwarf, and you just charge the enemy going, I
mithril,
want your blood! I will make the prettiest meat bicycle.
mithril stone plate, because that's what they call full plate.
Well, stone plate's made out of stone.
Oh, it's something different?
Well, stone plate is literally made out of stone.
Oh, I see it there. I just went to the bottom because that's usually where it was in the other books.
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to armor,
yeah, I'll stick with my full plate.
Yeah. Yeah, full plate's good.
But yeah, it'll be a while before I get to that, so
exactly.
Medium armor is still good.
Oh yeah.
Wait, was medium armor or?
Well, we're all starting with light armor. Medium. You just don't have the money for medium. Oh, also, if you have access to medium armor proficiency, always get a mithril armored coat because it is a great backup armor. And here's why. If you mithril it, it has no armor check penalty. Its max dex bonus goes up. It only has +4 armor and shields, but you can still put an enchantment on it. And it only takes a move action to put it on. And because it's light armor, you can sleep in it.
Nice.
So yeah. So it's a way to kind of cheaply get that quick dawn armor. There's another one that basically it's full plate, but it's hidden in a like a necklace or medallion. So you just pop a button on the medallion, then boom, you're in armor.
Hmm.
There's a lot of cool ways to make sure you have armor at all times.
Yep. And
or just have it glamored.
But quick question though, with the gestalting thing, basically you can keep going. Let's just say we get like a 4th or maybe even like a 5th layer in, and we're level, for the sake of argument, level 4. At that point, could Ty say, starting at level 5, no more gestalt?
No, Ty's just going to add more monsters and tougher stuff to.
Just remember, don't double the hardness because Gestalt.
I'm not going to double it. I'm just going to slightly increase it.
From what I've heard from from what I've heard from GMs, they say it's about a 30 to 50% increase in difficulty, and that's about it. Because each character is about 30%, 50% tougher. So yeah. Oh, also, don't forget about the armored kilt. You should totally get that, Kiri.
Where's that?
It's basically an interesting kind of add-on armor. When you add an armored kilt to a suit of light armor, the set counts as medium. Likewise, a kilt to medium armor counts as heavy. It's a way to kind of cheaply get access to heavy armor early game. So basically, it's kind of like if you can handle it, You can do something like scale mail, or a breastplate.
Well, since I'm a fighter, I do have the ability of all armors.
Yeah. But it's 20 gold to get it, so. Yeah. But hey, you're wearing a kilt that has metal on it.
So you just look badass.
Yep.
Well, considering he's a red-haired dwarf.
More badass than before.
Yep. Who is a two-hand fighter, a two-handed weapon fighter.
Yep. Oh, barbarian rage in addition to that.
Yes.
Yep. I'm salivating.
Here we go. Rage. A barbarian can call upon inner reserves of strength and ferocity, granting her additional combat craft. Starting at first level, barbarian can rage for a number of rounds per day, equaling to 4 plus her con modifier. At each level after first, she can rage for 2 additional rounds. Temporary increase to constitution, such as those gained from rage, and spell like Bear's Endurance do not increase the total number of rounds that the barbarian can rage per day. A barbarian can enter rage as a free action. The total number of rounds of rage per day is renewed after resting for 8 hours, although these hours do not need to be consecutive. While in rage, barbarian gains +4 moral bonus to strength and constitution, as well as a +2 moral bonus on will saves. In addition, -2 to armor class, but you're an armored turtle as it is.
I'm thinking moral bonus. That's like a temporary bonus.
Well, a morale bonus. A morale bonus. Okay. You cannot have 2 bonuses that have the same name. So if you have if you have an equipment bonus from one thing and an equipment bonus from the other thing that affect the same skill, you use the stronger of the 2, unless there is a very specific exemption made. Untyped bonuses always stack. So if there's some sort of thing that says you just get a +2 bonus on X, you just get it. So there are various, as I said, there are various bonuses you can get a hold of.
So, for example, armor like greaves of giant strength and a belt of strength as well. Those 2 get added up together.
No. Technically, there's no greaves of strength.
I was just using that as an example.
Well, okay. The thing is, when it comes to a better example would be, okay, our bard is doing the song of, I think it's competence, to try and help us out during a very tricky skill challenge. And you also have a crowbar, not a crowbar, and a crowbar to pry open a door. You get the competence bonus plus the crowbar bonus plus your normal strength bonus, all added together. Because there's a lot of different ways to get extra bonuses. There's like sacred bonuses. There are morale bonuses. There are innate bonuses. There's a bunch of different terms for it. Just look at the name, look at the descriptor for the bonus, and if you don't have it, you can add it. If you don't have it already, you can add it in. And untyped always stacks. Oh wow, barbarians get trap sense. I did not know that. That scares me a little bit. Uncanny dodge at 2nd level, oh god. She cannot be caught flat-footed, nor does she lose her dex bonus to HP if the attacker is invisible. Oh god. Oh god. Tireless Rage. Starting at 17th level, a barbarian no longer becomes fatigued at the end of her rage. Mighty Rage. When a barbarian enters rage, the morale bonus to her strength and constitution increases to +8. Oh god. Kiri, are you going to be breaking skulls between your fingers?
Basically, I think in a fight, my degree of communications will be like an average Dragon Ball Z fight scene. Just screams and whatnot.
Yeah.
God.
So we're going to have 3 sessions of you just screaming to the heavens while everybody else is...
I think I'll just be sitting on the side, cooking stew, just going like, my god, this is just horrible, but I can't look away. And just pour somebody a bowl of stew and hand it to them and just pour myself and just watch as he kills an entire army on his own.
And meanwhile, there's just like one guy, his lower half is completely missing, and he's basically trying to crawl towards you with like a look of, please save me from him.
Sorry, man. You chose the wrong side. Arrow to the face.
Ah, well, a mercy kill.
Yeah.
And like we
Or no, you basically break a guy's neck in your fist and you throw him while he's still holding onto his sword, and the sword lands right in the back of this guy with the other guy still attached to the sword.
I think it's when I get like to a high enough level at that point, I'm basically grabbing people by their ankles and using them as weapons.
Yeah.
let me see the stats for a human club.
I specialize in dwarf tossing.
Like, what the fuck is dwarf tossing? Oh god!
He throws a ball of anger and rage.
Oh, also, Kiri, something that you're probably gonna be oddly good at. You're gonna be a bit of you could be a bit of an acrobat. So yeah. Here we go. Rage. Yeah, and rage is based off of Constitution. So, hooray! Oh god. Oh, while in a rage, a barbarian cannot use any charisma, dexterity, or intelligence-based skills except for acrobatics, fly, intimidate, and ride, or any ability that requires patience or concentration. So don't try to pick a lock when you're pissed, or you'll use the ultimate lockpick, which is your axe.
Like, you need this door open? Fine, I got my door opener right here.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. I have my ring of lock picking right here. And I have a class ring on, and I just punch the door.
And everybody in that whatever stronghold you did just looked at you like, dude.
The door wasn't locked.
I didn't know. I was angry. Rah!
Like, okay, well, roll for initiative. You just pissed off the two guards.
Oh no. Yeah. Oh, also, Ty, just to keep things from getting ridiculous, my cohort will not follow the Gestalt rules.
Okay.
She's just normal. She fights more defensively. I think she'll be fine in combat. She'll hang out nearby the rest of us and be a bit of a heal bot, because lay on hands is a thing.
Like you stick around and just toss healing spells whenever one of us looks like we're about to die.
Well, no, she can still fight with us. You know, she has her shield and sword. She's a sword and board paladin, full plate. Has a couple of paladin abilities to be tough.
So yeah, moral bonus. That'll just get added on regardless of whatever things else I have.
There might be certain situations where you get an additional moral bonus from something else. It's rare, but they do crop up from time to time. But yeah, 20 levels of barbarian, 20 levels of fighter. I think by the end of this campaign, the three of us plus if other people have cohorts, there's gonna be this walking army of death.
At that point, I'm imagining if somehow we make it that far, I enter my rage, all of a sudden my hair goes blonde.
I'm actually thinking blue, but anyway. No, that'll be that'll be if you get level 20, your hair will just go blue.
All right. Wait, your hair was red. Why is it blue?
Don't ask. And this is like this is Jimmy the intern, who's like one of the first level followers that I get since I get leadership. Don't question it, Jimmy.
Like
we never figured it out ourselves. Just don't question it.
Just let the man do his work.
I make the prettiest meat bicycle.
Like,
oh, sorry, Jim fan. We'll call him Johnny instead. The intern's name is Johnny. The intern's name is always Johnny, even when it's not.
Everybody, what the hell happened? Yeah. The last boss summons all his evil powers, just gets one punch man.
I've actually been watching that anime.
Consecutive normal punches.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think I liked the manga. Now I read it every time it updates.
Yeah.
I'm glad that got season 2 at least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I actually discovered one of the animes I actually do like quite a bit. Actually had a couple of OVAs made for it that kind of help finish out the story.
What's that?
Gargantia.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a pretty good series.
I can't wait till next month. Overlord season 2 starts.
I'm waiting for them to finish up My Hero Academia season 2. You know, it only took them about a season and a half before the female love interest starting to accept that she actually has a thing for the main character. I called it the first time I saw her. I called it. You're the love interest, aren't you?
Yeah, damn, I forgot her name. I know Midori's the main character. I forgot.
Midoriya, Deku is his hero
Deku is
name.
his hero's name.
It's the anti-gravity girl.
I know.
Yeah. Who's actually pretty clever. But Jimpan, you have a couple of options for gestalting. When it comes to a bard, a good second class to pick up, since we're getting 2 class levels per level, is a rogue. Trap sense. You can do sneak attack damage, all that fun stuff. Sneak attack, trap finding, evasion, rogue talents. Yeah, it works well. Yep. And your sneak attack still actually does work because it does key off of short bow. So hooray, you get to stab people. We are 50% more murder hobo than before. Is everyone happy about this?
Yes.
Yeah.
God, I can just imagine, like, after the first fight with our little minions, I'd be going, I don't like going all out. It scares people.
You know, my guy goes, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. We're going to have to all go all out soon.
People just look at you as like, oh my god, they're more scarier than the monsters in the Blackwoods.
It's like sending in the Navy SEALs to deal with a methed out guy holding people hostage in a convenience store. No, not a meth lab. To deal with 2 methed out, 2 tweakers who've taken a convenience store and is holding someone hostage. It's like sending in the SEAL Team fucking 6.
Damn.
Okay, where the hell are you in this food list? I see it.
Yeah.
It's listed as haggis in the table. I'm trying to find its description.
It's haggis. Is that what you eat? Oh, also, Jimpan, another reason why to get rogue, trap finding. Disabling, and it gives you makes it so you can disable magical traps. Please, everyone needs a rogue. We're begging you. I don't want to die because of boulders falling on my head.
You just duck down on the ground. You see the boulder on top of my head, and I go, what?
Hey, technically, you actually get a bonus to determining stone.
I-
Yes, dwarves just have that ability. They can figure out what type of stone it is. Where is it? Yeah, stone cunning. Dwarves get a +2 perception check and notice unusual stonework such as traps, hidden doors located in stone walls or floors. They receive a check to notice such a feature whenever they pass within 10 feet of them, whether or not they're actively looking. Because dwarves just love stone. No one knows why. So, Kira, you're going to go down the two weapon fighting route?
Yep, the two-handed weapon fighting round. I said.
Well, okay. The weapon that you chose, it's a double-ended weapon, so you're technically doing what's known as two-weapon fighting. You may want to pick up that feat.
All right.
Just double check to make sure you got the dexterity for it. So. But I can just see horrible things happening. You get tireless rage in one day. You gotta stop getting tired after raging. And you also the thing's called rage powers too. Let's see. Animal fury. You gain a bite attack.
Wait, he as in bite.
You can bite people. You can bite people.
All right.
Armor Ripper. Gain a bonus to sunder checks with your natural raging. You can bite through steel. Is what that translates to.
Yes.
Auspicious Mark. Gain a bonus roll once per rage. That's pretty interesting. Battle Roar. You deal an additional 1d6 sonic damage to an opponent you successfully demoralize using Intimidating Glare. You stare at them intimidatingly.
I have just enough dex for it.
For just basic two-weapon fighting? Yeah, that's fine. And the thing is, you can choose either one to be the offhand weapon, just because I imagine basically just quickly flipping it in your hand during the attack. So, yeah. So, yeah. Bloody Bite. Your bite attack deals 1d6 points of bleed damage, in addition to its other effect. But you had to be a half-orc to do it. Or have a natural bite attack. Bloody Fists. Interesting. Brawler Greater. Gain 2-weapon fighting while raging. Lol. So this game's going to get a little bit crazy. Surprising accuracy. Gain a moral bonus on one attack roll. Oh, nice. You get a +1 on one attack roll, and the bonus increases by +1 for every 4 levels the barbarian has attained. This power uses swift action before the roll before the attack is made. So, curious, is at some point we're going to find your guy just basically turning into One Punch Man, where you kill everything in basically a single hit and you're just depressed, sitting at the bar? They're like, I don't have a good challenge.
Where did you see bite?
Oh, it's called Animal Fury. While raging, the barbarian gains a bite attack. If used as part of a full attack, the bite is made at the barbarian's full base attack bonus -5. If the bite hits, it deals 1d4 points of damage, assuming the barbarian's medium, plus half the barbarian's strength modifier. A barbarian can make a bite attack as part of an action to maintain or break free from a grapple. This attack is resolved before the grapple check is made. If the bite hits, any grapple check made by the barbarian against the target this round gains are at +2 bonus.
That's under the barbarian skills thing, right?
Barbarian rage powers.
Under the rage powers.
You can only do this when you're raging, apparently. And you can eventually get something called Armor Ripper. While raging, you gain a +2 combat maneuver check to make asunder weapons with any of your natural attacks. So you can bite through someone's sword.
Yeah. That would be intimidating as fuck.
Yeah.
I'll take your head off with my blade. Nah.
And you start chewing it.
And then nice and slowly right in front of him, and then I swallow. Then I take a
Unless,
peek that
unless
still
it's
on the
crap
ground and
steel.
start eating. Huh?
Unless it's crap steel, of course. Then, what type of steel is this?
Yep.
You have dishonored my family! Rah!
Thus the rage begins.
Well, technically, you only get the rage powers when you're raging.
That's when the hair color change happens.
Starts off blonde, eventually goes blue.
Yep.
We still don't know why.
Okay. Alrighty, Jim.
Breathtaker. While raging, whenever... Yeah, that's way too specific.
Like, wait, what?
All right, Jim.
Go ahead.
All right, Jim. Let's see what's happening. Down in the gladiatorial arena. Looks like the newcomer has... Oh, dear. Oh, God. He first ate the man's sword, then his shield, then he cut off his head and started eating the helmet off the severed head. Then he jumped into the crowd in a rage, complaining about low-quality iron, and beheaded the emperor.
Well, Jim. Bob. As we do operate under a victory by conquest, that makes him the new emperor.
All hail the new emperor. What is your name, sir? Long live Emperor Roar.
Like,
You wake up from your rage in the palace.
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing here?
Ooh, what did I do last night?
oh, you don't remember Lord Roar? You murdered the Emperor and almost the entire royal guard. Your hair was blue for some reason, and now you're the Emperor.
Huh. Why did my hair turn blue?
No one knows, and the one reporter who asked, you beheaded just by chopping his neck with your bare hand.
Hmm.
Yep, you get your first rage power at second level, and then you get
Yes.
one at every even level. Oh God!
So I'll have 10 of those.
Are you seriously considering the "I eat your sword" tactic?
Oh. Well, if nothing else, that would give me some food.
I don't think that technically counts as food. I don't think that counts as food.
What does that count as other than fear intimidation factors?
Yeah, exactly. But
Like,
can you not do it with the nice-looking swords? Because those might be worth something. The crap swords, go right ahead. We don't care.
Yeah, God help us if I'm in a rage when we come across the Triforce.
No. No. Don't break the Triforce.
like the Triforce is nice and it's shiny.
Oh, also, guys, just to let you know, I will have a bag of holding inside of a portable, not a portable hole, that's a bad idea. Sorry, what I meant to say is in a handy haversack that will contain everything we need for camp. It'll have about 200 pounds worth of gear.
Okay, let's go and point out the fact that
How does that work?
if you're starting from the middle, almost every town is at least 1 or 2 days walk.
All right. So basically a day or two radius.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
we can stay in towns, but hey, it's nice when you can set up, like a couple of tents. We each have our own little spaces, especially if we're kind of nearby ruins and exploring them for several days. Just have a nice base camp ready to go.
So at that point, I just give you my camping gear and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, at that point, I'll also have my own stuff. I'll be also carrying a lot of map making gear. Yes, I will be making maps as we explore.
Oh, I gain bonuses to my dungeoneering check with that, along with a compass.
Yep.
This might be one of the most broken parts.
We never get lost. We just never get lost. You could throw us into a teleport storm, and my character just basically pulls out a compass, looks at the sky, and goes, "Oh yeah, we're right here. We're on the other continent we've actually never been to before." Yeah, I know because I'm a ranger.
Like, well, Fog of War just became useless.
Yep. Well, we don't know what's in it. We just know where we are.
Ah.
Yeah, I get a couple of traits because there are background traits you can get. I do the standard. The standard is everyone gets 2 free ones, and they can get a drawback in exchange for 1 more. And what I usually grab is I think it's a survivalist, and that gives me a bonus to survival checks to avoid getting lost and to forage for food.
I like Bloody Fist's description.
Once per rage, the barbarian may attempt to punch an opponent's flesh and rip out one of the vital organs. Oh god. In order to do so, the barbarian must confirm a critical hit against it with a natural attack or unarmed strike. The barbarian deals damage normal for a critical hit, and the opponent must succeed a fortitude save or take 1d4 points of constitution damage as one vital organ is ripped free from its body. Oh god. You rip out a man's lung. Do you then eat it?
No, it's not the heart, so I don't gain their power.
Okay, good. Also, if you ripped out the heart, I would argue that's just an instant KO.
I'm like, yeah, if you rip out their heart, that's just okay. Well, that character is dead. Let me just type that in.
Yeah. Well, what I would argue is if you do that and that's the damage that basically kills them, I think at that point you say, yeah, I rip out their heart.
Yeah, if it's the coup de grace, then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at that point, if there are enemies nearby, I imagine they'd be having to make some kind of like, I don't know, like will save or something to avoid running away.
Well, technically, it's not in the rules, so unless you want to kind of help you.
I'm about to say, I assume one of you guys would do an intimidate check, like, look what he just did to one of your cohorts. Do you want this?
The bard would do that. The bard would do that because bards can be very intimidating.
Oh, the bloody
bludgeon. Oh god, come and get me. Provoke attacks of opportunity to gain extra attacks.
Come get some, bro. Come
Poor
at me, bro.
We at some point we come to some town decked out and well I think at some point we just kind of glamour our gear or just make it look like it's not as fancy as it is. We're well equipped. We come to some poor podunk towns and great adventurers, we'll pay you all 100 gold to kill some goblins. We're like level 15 at this point. We normally don't get out of bed for more than like 10,000 gold, but you say, you know what, we've got a couple of days to kill, let's do this. And we have like a flying horse or something. So and you have a featherfall ring. So basically, we just do the paradrop insertion of the barbarian into the middle of the goblin camp. Come on, we got to turn into SEAL Team 6 at some point. I'm the sniper. You're the crazy guy with the Bowie knife. Jim Pan is just another rifleman. And we just, as I said, we drop you into the middle of the enemy camp. You rage just before you hit the ground, so massive roar, and then Kong.
So how do you think he's doing in there? And you just hear a bunch of screaming. I
occasionally fire an arrow to take out a running away goblin, pinning it to trees.
Like, so you think the woods are clean?
Yeah, when we come back, all of the goblins' heads on pikes. The people see that our gear is much better. Then it goes, the towns, the town hears the screams, even though it's miles away, and the small explosions and all that stuff. And we just come out of the forest, completely clean, not a drop of blood on us, with a bunch of goblin ears, strung.
The goblins had some mad loot.
They just had some goblin slicers. Dog slicers. Nothing too crazy.
Well, initially you said that all of a sudden the glamour was gone and we were wearing all that nice armor.
Well, no, not the glamour's gone, but I'm gonna hide a lot of my gear underneath a cloak. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but I think dwarves are pretty proud, so you might actually show off a little bit.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we come out. They see a slight glimmer to all of our gear, realizing that, oh god, we must have hired like a really powerful party. And those screams, they never get it out of their heads. Like, what have we done? We've committed genocide.
Well, nothing else.
We just wanted them to get some of our stuff back from the Goblin King. We didn't want the entire Goblin race to be annihilated.
Well, if nothing else, this screams probably will scare away anything from ever going to you. Sorry.
And it also makes sure the school children never wake up, but never sleep again.
Yeah. Babe.
I basically would take out my beer hat and start going to the kids saying, eat your Wheaties and you could be like me one day.
They all shit themselves, run away screaming.
Except that one or two kids that goes, that's a good goal to get to.
Eat your Wheaties. Yeah. Oh, feasting bite, you actually can, but the problem is, again, it's a half-orc blood bite rage power and either animal or natural bite. When a barbarian confirms a critical hit with their bite attack, she gains half the number of hit points equal to damage dealt. Activating this ability consumes 1 round of rage, but you have to be a half-orc or half-orc and have the bloody bite rage power.
Yeah, so that one's out of the question.
Yeah. Oh god!
What?
Oh,
Feast of bloody fist, rage power. Barbarian 14. When raging, the barbarian may feast on the organs of her foe and absorb their power. Oh god. After successfully putting out a creature's vital organ, the barbarian may eat the organ within 1 minute to extracting it as a full round action that provokes attacks of opportunity. Once the organ is consumed, the barbarian recovers a number of hit points and hit dice equal to hit dice of the organ's owner. In addition, the barbarian gains energy, immunity, or resistances the victim had, although the effectiveness of these resistances have. For instance, barbarian eats a creature with a resistant 10 cold would gain resist 5 cold. Energy immunities are reduced to energy resistance 20. The energy resistance lasts for a number of rounds equal to half the hit dice the creature's organ was consumed. Oh god.
So I'm trying to picture you doing that to one of the Ice Devils now.
Then all of a sudden I go Super Saiyan with the blue hair. I'm already Super Saiyan at that point.
No, the hair goes from normal hair to just coated in ice. Yeah.
God, some of these things seem all so wrong.
It's a barbarian, man.
But God, so awesome. It's what I expect a barbarian to be able to do.
You're gonna scare the shit out of my paladin cohort. To the point that she actually starts, hiding behind the drow that she hates. Until things change and she actually starts dating him. Yeah. It's a full fun story. She's a tsundere.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I do my part to help build bridges.
Yep. Oh! Fiend Totem Lesser. Gain a gore attack. You grow horns. When you're... Oh, a totem rage theme. A barbarian cannot select from more than one group of totem rage. For example, a barbarian who selects beast totem rage power cannot later choose to gain a dragon totem. Oh, goody.
Mm-hmm. And I'll have to think on that one.
Yeah, basically you choose one totem path to go down. When raging, a barbarian grows a large pair of horns and gains a gore attack. This attack is a primary attack unless she's also attacking with a weapon, in which case it's a secondary attack, and is made at the barbarian's full base attack bonus, -5 if secondary attack. The gore damage deals 1d8 points of piercing, plus the barbarian strength modifier, half if it's a secondary attack.
Flesh wound. Convert lethal damage to non-lethal damage.
Actually, very useful if you need to keep somebody alive.
Oh yeah, that actually has some utility.
Yeah, I mean, the way I get around it is I just carry a bunch of blunt arrows and take a -4 to hit. I did, and I don't activate things that would increase loss, like a deadly aim or what was the other one? There was another one. But so, are you just gonna come to town just with like a slight twitch in your eyes that you've seen a little bit too much?
So long as I don't have my beer hat on, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we could like
Yeah.
house rule like some helmet or something as a beer hat.
Oh yeah, it'll just be part of your armor.
Like Beer Hat reduces rage levels by 30%, saves many townspeople.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I'm out of beer.
I basically pull out sleeping powder and go, and you just sneeze. Damn it, he's become immune. We've got a class 7 incident. Evacuate.
Point us to the nearest tavern.
We basically coat you in a rope, but they're slowly snapping.
Actually, I think at those high levels, you basically have like chains all over me,
Made of
you're in-
adamantine, and they're
Yeah,
still
basically-
cracking.
Yeah, they're basically like the size of the anchors that you'd see on a battleship.
Yeah, and they're made of adamantine, the toughest metal in the game. And they're still starting to crack.
Yeah, and the very first bar we come to is one of the places that have a line. They be saying, "Get him in. He's in an adamantine chain suit, and he's breaking it open. He needs his alcohol now."
Well, no, we would just like basically bull rush through the crowd and then throw you into the big vat of beer, not caring, because you'll just drink all of it before you drown.
You go to the dwarven town, like, listen, we have a dwarven barbarian, and he hasn't had beer in too long. The town.
They basically jump in the door and let you in.
The Baron's like, say no more, men. We have a class 8 emergency.
2719, 2719. The magical equivalent of air raid sirens go off, doors close, shops shutter. The guards are coming out like an elite unit of guards in pure adamantine armor with shields come out.
Like, is his hair color blue or red in any case?
It's turned purple.
Oh, that's worse than we thought. We're gonna need the good stuff. the real good stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure he could substitute dwarven ale for human whiskey temporarily.
In like a single 6 seconds, that entire liter bottle is empty.
No, that's what they're doing wherever you're at. They're just trying to pass off as many bottles of human whiskey as possible so they can get dwarf ale ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
The kingdom becomes united after seeing the murderous dwarf go on a rampage.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he disappeared for 3 weeks. Then you see a bunch of dragons running away, and very obviously, some of them are in bad shape where they are missing their wings. Some are flying away with what look like tattered wings. And yet, right behind them, they see a burning blue light raging forward.
Literally breathing fire. And then
because you consume the heart of a dragon.
The campaign's main antagonist is like, nope, I'm out. My plans are not working.
He goes to the nearest major city and just goes to the guards. Hi, I'm the great evil wizard, Vazuzu. Please arrest me.
It might keep me safe.
It might keep me safe.
I'm like, please put me in your deepest, darkest, most sound dungeon. Just keep me away from that crazy thing you hired to stop my plans.
He ate an adamantine golem in 30 minutes.
Like, in 30 minutes, he ate an adamantine golem. The Westwood is full of demons, monsters, and killers, and he just went through all of them. So the Blackwood.
Yeah. And he has an archer with him. Oh God, the archer. He has perfect aim. I have never seen anything survive running from him. It is said that if you run from him, you will only die tired. Then there's the bard. The unspeakable things the bard does. Then they have a paladin who's kind of normal, actually, but apparently she's close to the archer, so I'm still scared of her. Please lock me away.
I've seen that bard turn a town's children into a murder army just by one song.
And none of them died.
And then there was that time on Halloween. He went to the tomb, to a massive tomb, and he had a massive musical.
Like, no one knew why the bard went to the royal tomb that day. But when it was ended, all the former kings and queens were marching out through the field, murdering all the monsters and demons that was in the way. The bard was leading them. We now call that the Black Halloween.
But yeah, that dirge archetype bard, that's the only one that can do that. I don't think Jim Pan's going down that road, though. I think we're just going to go with generic bard for him.
Alright.
Just keep it simple. But we had I was playing something called Dragonstar, which is a kind of third-party add-on to 3.5, which a guy adapted to Pathfinder before Starfinder became a thing. And he was one of the guys who didn't join the group because of conflict, but he was considering playing a bard who was basically an up-and-coming rock star. And he was that, and what would happen is we joked, this is the song he's going to play when he wakes the dead.
Oh God. Staggering drunk. When raging, barbarian gains a one dodge bonus to AC against attacks of opportunity for each alcoholic drink she has consumed during her rage.
So now her alcohol actually makes her more powerful. It's literally fuel.
Mm-hmm. Up to a maximum of a 1+4 barbarian.
So, if the barbarian drinks enough, can he get a temporary fire-breathing attack when he burps?
Maybe.
He'll have to make a fortitude check.
He'll be
fortitude
fine.
check. Nat 20.
It's hotter than an acetylene torch. Just melts through steel.
At that point, I'm becoming our welder. It does still do wonders with my knowledge for engineering.
Yeah.
Let's see. God, so many of those powers. Let's continue on with shopping.
See you, Jim Pan. If you have any questions for character building, just poke us, okay?
Alright, just send me a copy of your character sheet when you're
And just let you know, use Mythweavers is a great resource for making sheets.
Mm-hmm.
See you around, Jim Pan. It'll be fun playing with you. So, are we going to just wake up one day after you've gotten a little too drunk one night when you're high level and have high knowledge engineering, in which you're maniacal laughing coming from a barn that you've locked up, and then you come out basically with a steam-powered drill machine? Steam-powered drill machine from, what was it? Atlantis, the Lost City.
Yes.
I was like, all we needed was a couple of pickaxes to get to that, half-foot thick wall in a couple hours of work.
I did those few hours of work.
Okay, let's turn this thing on. You pour an ale, dwarven ale,
And
and she just fires up and just go, my God, what is that stuff made of? Are they putting coal in it?
And the engine, it sounds like a demon in fear or anger.
Well, that might be the demon heart at the core of the thing.
It probably is one or the other.
You don't even know what you put at the core of the machine. We just know that it's emanating darkness. Oh, also, what should I expect to find like a little adamantine, turret box for me to fire arrows out of?
Maybe.
You're at the controls.
Let's see how fast this thing can go.
Ooh, the box or the people running from it?
That's a
Call a shot to
rhetorical
the
question.
Call shot to the knees. I put an arrow in their knee. They are now significantly slowed. They can't keep ahead of this thing
And it gets a nice washing.
in blood.
I don't know why, but for whatever reason, when we do that, the engine almost sounds like it's purring.
Hey, are you going to pick up any crafting skills, Kiri?
I am thinking, I'm just not sure what specifically.
Well, I'm going to say this right now. I'd have to re-find it, but a while back I had a PDF for a good alternative set of rules for crafting, because in Pathfinder, Pathfinder crafting is really weird. Like, it takes you, like, I think it's like, it takes you 28 weeks to make a suit of full plate if you're like the world grand master of making things. I'm not joking.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I know technically that in real life that's actually kind of accurate with, medieval style tools, but this is also high fantasy.
There's probably going to be like, maybe some like 19th century presses and stuff.
That
Stuff
are magically powered.
Yeah.
Some magical factories.
Kind of steampunkish in some bits. Probably in the more advanced, bigger cities.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? Plus, yes.
Yeah. Oh, God, I do have... There is a semi-alternate character that I would go, but the problem is... I'd have to send the books to Ty to approve it, because it's a lot of third-party stuff. But there's this thing called a steamwrite that basically is steampunk the character. The dude's backup weapon is a giant, oversized pipe wrench. I'm not joking. It's a one-handed pipe wrench of death. And there's this really cool thing you can stack. You can make, and how I describe it is basically it's about a 1 foot long, maybe 2-inch diameter rod that has a little break in the middle. He splits it, pulls it apart, and then it becomes then it's mithril full plate that is considered light armor and has no armor check penalty and weighs like 10 pounds.
Nice.
And the way I described it looks like the armor from Dead Space.
Nice. I actually kind of liked how that armor worked, how, like, visually how the armor worked, like, folding up the helmet and stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, basically that's how this stuff works. It just kind of folds out with the ribs everywhere. And also it folds underneath this, like, big steampunk overcoat that he has, because that coat actually is designed to fit over armor. Yeah. Oh, also he can get this little communications unit that he can just that he just has with little earpieces And I've got a feeling that we have to mute yours whenever you go into rage. I'll add a little rage sensor into it so it turns itself off.
Yep.
But yeah.
The
rage is coming.
The rage-o-meter.
Oh, I love this. Rations. Standard dwarven rations.
They actually cost quite a bit.
I know. I just like
And-
that.
And they don't really give you a whole lot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, oh god, I'm half expecting. Just knowing the character of Alara with how pissed, which is the paladin character that's going to come in, with knowing how pissy she gets early on, I'm expecting that she's going to get a black guy from the dwarf at some point.
And at that
Unhand me,
point,
you filthy dwarf.
best me in drink.
I'd rather best you in combat. I am a paladin of the great Ioma Day. I am a master of the long sword. You will not beat me. 10 seconds later, oh god, my eye.
That was fun. You want to go drinking? First 2 rounds are on me.
She's basically in pain. You see Vikrin currently standing over her doing his non-magical medical stuff. I think she needs to just go back to her room.
I'll buy her some human whiskey.
I don't think she drinks.
Son, with some of the stuff you've done, if he doesn't become an alcoholic, I'm gonna be surprised.
I've seen a lot of things, and I'm not an alcoholic.
You'll see, son. You'll see.
You'd be surprised.
Then the first battle we go into, I go Super Saiyan.
She starts drinking. Not in excess, but just to null the pain just a little bit.
Yeah,
Knowing that she didn't activate all of that all at once, and if she did, it would have been bad for her.
That's how it starts.
Yeah.
Then
Just to dull the pain.
slowly, as you go from town to town, you're just drinking more and heavier stuff.
And as a gift, I make her a beer hat.
She's grateful, but she never wears it because she actually doesn't like wearing helmets. She prefers to be a proud paladin.
Until the point she just shows up to the battlefield, takes a swig, and then starts fighting.
No, she's a bit tougher than that.
I taught her well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's got her own darkness in her past. She may fight for the light, but she's had some experiences in her life that are just not so fun. Oh, one little unique feature. She has purple eyes. The irises, they're purple. Do you know that signifies in an elf?
Isn't that usually like demonic heritage or something?
Drow heritage. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why she hates drow so much.
Meanwhile, my character's name is Samuel Smith, and his parents were brewers, and they decided to name him after their business.
Dwarves naming it after a human, naming their child after their business.
Well, there was a business partner who willingly put a lot of money into it.
Hey, they got a pile of gold to swim in for a night before they used it to get a giant vat of beer they could swim in every night.
Yeah, and I figured with the name Samuel Smith, he'll perform well.
Yeah.
So as I grow older, help out around the brewery, figure there's got to be ways I can help them out. They make good beer. They make good alcohol. So, join the Adventurer Guild. It's easy money, probably. He'll have a very simple start, but things will get dark for him. He'll become a thing of urban legend. I mean, not everyone's going to have these dark, mysterious mystery heritage backstories.
Mine will, but yeah.
Well, I could just say is that my guy's history is kind of is mysterious, mainly because it was boring and nothing really happened. So people don't really know about that. But kind of well off, which would make his descent as a barbarian all the more interesting.
But yeah, here's one of the flaws of okay, I actually found it. Here we go. Here are the kind of alternative crafting rules that they're on the SRD, they're third party, but they kind of just simplify it, make it nice and simple to work with. But and they give examples of why the crafting is so weird. And here's a good example. Which means it 28 weeks to make full plate armor. So much for having a time to adventure kind of thing. But here we go. A 1 pound ball of silver takes a tenth the time to make as a 1 pound ball of gold. So let's say the silver takes 1 day to make. The gold takes 10 days, even though they're basically the same thing. Pouring a melted down metal into a mold. It's weird. Basically, Ty, what it does is it breaks things down into complexity of items. And it doesn't affect magic items. Magic items are still separate from this because magic items, I think to make even those powerful magic items, if you have the skill to do it, it only takes 3 or 4 days to pull it off, maybe a week.
Yeah, I can see like with the item complexity, like making some tools.
Like very simple, very simple things are +0 modifier, and the simple shape, one material, and move parts, basically like a quarterstaff or a crowbar. Right. Whereas very complex items are ocean-going vessels, unusual armor, tanglefoot bags, sun rods, thunderstones.
I don't know. I figure making a boat would probably be take a little bit longer than a week.
Well, I think at that point you would also argue that you'd have to have a team, that we could easily house rule that if you have a team, you could produce a boat in several weeks. Kind of one of those messing with time units a little bit. Right. But also the complexity time is per week. The amount of time in this column indicates how much time must be spent working before the crafting check. Everything is all DC checks are DC 10 checks for all craft with modifications, like for complexity. For example, very simple item like making a crowbar or a quarterstaff. It takes you about 4 hours, and it's pretty simple to DC 10. Most characters could do it untrained if they've got some intelligence behind them. Same thing with simple and maybe even moderate items as they have access to the stuff. But yeah, crafting masterworker items have a 50% increase in the unit in time unit, in addition to the normal increase in cost. For example, a longsword is moderately complex with a time unit of 2 days. Thus, a masterwork longsword has a time unit of 3 days. Furthermore, any masterwork item has a craft DC increased by +4. Thus, masterwork longsword faces a DC 18 crafting check. Then there's working with special materials like adamantine, dark wood, dragonhide, cold iron, mithril, and alchemical silver. It doesn't give a list of all of them because there are a lot more, but we could easily put them into various categories,
Yeah.
Like adamantine is for the super rare materials, mithril is for the uncommon materials, dark wood is for the semi-common, stuff like that. But yeah, failed check. If the crafting check fails, the item is not complete. Work for another time unit and try again. You don't lose any materials if you're not done with it. If crafting check fails by 5 or more, half of the raw materials are ruined. Pay half the raw materials cost to replace the ruined materials. If crafting check fails by 10 or more, and you're using crafting alchemy, your laboratory explodes. Pay to replace it as well as the ruined raw materials, as number 2 above. Also make a DC 10 reflex save to avoid 1d6 points of fire damage. Yeah. Exceptional crafting results. What happens if you really ace at crafting? Your character can get finished more quickly than the time unit. Certainly there are limits, but for every 5 points greater than the item's DC in the crafting check, have the item's time unit, but no time unit can be halved more than twice. So you can basically reduce it down to about a quarter if you get a plus 10, if you get 10 above requirement.
So basically, like if you're making something simple, instead of 4 hours, it's like 1 hour.
And very simple, it's an hour. Or in a case of a day, it takes you like 4 hours to do it, kind of thing. Or 8 hours, sorry. No, sorry, 6 hours. 6 hours. Taking the bazaar out of those examples. 1, determine the complexity of the item. As always, the DM's input here may be decisive. So a GM can decide saying, okay, that armor is a bit more complex, even though it's blah, 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 it's more complex. Pay 1/3 of the items cost, including masterwork and usual material increases in order to require the necessary materials. 3, make craft check. If successful, the item is complete in the item's time unit. That's how it is.
Okay. So, Ty, would you allow something like this?
As long as you don't blow up the lab. And if you do, you obviously also have to pay for any damages that's done outside the lab as well. If you're there.
Well, I don't think we're going to be playing with alchemy.
Well, okay.
Yeah. And if you fail really hard with, like blacksmithing, there might be some fire damage, but you could argue that the damage is covered partially by the cost of materials you've got to repay for, like half the materials. Yeah, it's kind of covered by that. Because more complex materials require more materials, or more materials overall, thus more damage potential. So yeah. Why does it make me feel that we're eventually going to have like a portable hole with a full blacksmithing shop built into it?
You know that's going to be a lot of rolls you're going to have to get right to get that hole right.
Portable hole?
Yeah.
And yet somehow the drunken barbarian dwarf is somehow able to nat 20 them all somehow.
Yeah.
I'm like,
but yeah.
Oh wow, 5 nat 20s in a row. Okay, you do this with relative ease. Like, oh, I've done this for years. Watch this.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing is also, craft is a touch odd with how it breaks everything up. It weirdly breaks bows and weapons in 2 separate categories.
Yeah, that's kind of something I never quite got.
Yeah. And crossbow, but the thing is, making crossbows as weapons.
Really?
Yeah. I just had a GM basically split it into alchemy, armor, which covered weapons and armor, blacksmithing if you're making general items, traps, obviously, and then like woodworking, pottery, the other crafting skills like that. So yeah. Oh, also, there is a bit of theory crafting in Pathfinder. Do you know that I could potentially use profession map making to make magic items?
Really?
Yep. Through a series of feats, you can actually get it so a non-magical character can produce magic items through just the skill of their craftsmanship, and usually it's done through what was it? It's usually done through like a crafting skill of some sort, like blacksmithing or armor or something like that. But you can use professions for it too, and map making or cartography is a profession. So apparently, I make maps so good I can make magic weapons.
You 3 doing?
Making character in Pathfinder.
Yep.
Do we want to discuss the potential long-term application of what my character is going to be?
What do you mean? You're
Yeah.
the just kind of battlefield blender.
Yeah. Some of the scary things we talked about that I could choose is like rage powers and stuff.
Oh yeah. You can eat a man's heart to gain power.
Yes, that actually is how it's written.
Yep.
Yeah, this could be a potential outcome if I keep going. If he lives long enough.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right, so I think if I get to that point, that's basically going to be the new avatar. Because I think there's like, you just can't turn your hair back to normal.
I wonder how
Yeah.
many plates you guys have.
3.
What?
3 right
Four.
now.
It's only the correct social messages that need.
Let's hear that.
I think that's from Wheels.
Actually, I think this might be a more accurate image.
More accurate than Super Saiyan Nappa.
Hang on.
That's a large link.
That's a Google link, my friend.
Sorry, thought I hit what I thought I did.
No, that's the pre-glow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it goes from that image down there, and ultimately just goes with that image up there with a golden, with a flaming red mohawk.
Mm-hmm. Well, the hair has to come from somewhere.
Yep. So, do you have like a split in your helmet so the mohawk goes through?
I'm sure I could make it work. But somehow I imagine that I wouldn't become the face of the parents' company.
Oh, also, don't ask your god for a hat. Time might pull a Lord Cat on us.
Do I look that evil?
No.
You guys sound like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're going Gestalt because we have such a small party.
Basically, what that means is you get to play as two classes at the same time.
Yeah. Or more, actually. You get 2 class levels per character level. They kind of separate the 2.
Players at the moment.
3?
It's the third.
Jimpan.
Ah,
He went to bed,
Yeah.
so.
Starting rations. What would you say would be a good amount, or should we just
I
wait
usually go about
until
5
watching
days.
game? All right. Rations, you are okay.
I knew anything about Pathfinder.
It's basically a kind of a
Refined 3.5.
yeah, it's a refined 3.5. They distilled a lot of good stuff. They added in a couple. It's said that they kind of did similar things they did to 4th edition, but didn't go nearly as far as they did, like consolidating various skills. You know how
Yeah.
it's like move silently and hide were separate skills. Now it's just stealth. Perception is no longer spot, search, and listen. It's just perception.
I was reading. I would probably join if I understood what Pathfinder was.
Yeah.
Finally, I found the description that I was looking for. This dish is a meaty pudding made of sheep organs, mainly heart, liver, and lungs, minced with onions, oat, fat, spices, and salt, wrapped in a sheep stomach and slow cooked. Though its ingredients discourage cautious eaters, fans of haggis consider it a hearty meal with a wonderful texture. It is usually served with turnips, potato, and whiskey. So, your ranger goes out and hunts some stuff. I can make us some dinner.
No, I'm cooking a stew. I always cook a stew. Occasionally roasted venison. That's special occasions, though.
Like, hope you guys like stew for dinner again.
Well, I mean, it's not the same stew every night. I use different ingredients. Sometimes it's rabbit, sometimes it's wild boar, sometimes it's venison, sometimes it's a mix.
I love how fortune cookie is actually an item.
Yep. Hell, dude, I can buy a folding table, a what's called a kind of a camp cook thing. It's basically a little It's a tin can with wax in it that you can use to cook food without needing to actually set up a fire. And if you combine that with what's a chemical item called a heat stone, that you just basically hit on the ground. Everyone is warm, and you can cook food, even
Nice.
in extreme environments.
Nice.
So, also, let me there's a magic upgrade on your armor that I always recommend everyone get. Let me see if I can't find it really quick.
Yep. We're in the tundra. It's blizzard out. We're near a mountain. I go rage. I just punch us a cave that's a good 20 feet in, 10 feet high. We set up the camp and we're good.
Yep, I set up a couple of thick tarps over the entrance, and then we just crack a heat stone. Use the little thing to cook and just crack into rations because I don't feel like going outside today. Where is it? It's a higher level upgrade, if I remember right. Here it is. Not Expedius. Where is it? Shield specifics. Here we go. Comfort. It's a plus 5,000. Armor of Comfort sheds dirt and sweat as they accumulate, remaining as comfortable as as comfortable as weather-appropriate clothing, regardless of environmental conditions.
Nice.
A suit of armor with this enhancement always looks immaculately clean and can be slept in as though it were light armor, and this applies to all types of armor.
Nice.
So you can have it. So it can be just like this heavy armor, but yeah. Does not cause a penalty to the wearer's saving throws to resist the effects of heat. In cold weather, it counts as cold weather clothing. In addition, the armor check penalty is reduced by 1. And it requires a craft magical arms and armor, and and the spells Enduring Elements and Prestidigitation are both needed. But yeah, it costs 5,000 to put it on the armor, but it's kind of worth it. And because it is what is called a static price upgrade, it doesn't count against your enchantment bonus upgrades. Because when it comes to there's 2 types of magical enchantments. Ones that have either a plus effect or are equivalent to a plus effect. So the best armor you can get is a plus 5, but you can put an additional plus 5 worth of upgrades on it. So things like spell storing, mirrored, warding, bolstering, they're all +1 effects. Spell resistance, you can get that. Um, yeah, to be completely honest, those plus effects usually aren't the highest, but one I think you might want to get.
Is the one of comfort. Absolutely.
Well, that's just +5,000. It just can be put on there. But the one that I always get, because I'm a ranger, sneaky type, I get the shadow upgrade, and I just go from it goes shadow. Then I think there's and then there's a shadow improved, and then finally shadow greater. Shadow improve basic shadow gives me a +5 to my stealth. Improved gives me a +10, and greater shadow gives me a +15. I basically should go invisible while standing right in front of you without actually going invisible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Granted, that really wouldn't be of much value to me.
No.
Would it?
You're kind of screaming and yelling at the top of your lungs, and stealth requires patience and concentration, and it's a dex-based skill.
I'm doing my part to give you probably a few bonuses to stealth because they're all looking at me.
I think they're more getting negatives. Yeah.
There's actually a few types of backpacks.
Yes, there are two. There's basic and masterwork.
And waterproof. But I think that...
Waterproof bag.
Ah, okay.
Those are good early game until you can get yourself handy haversacks, bags of holding. Because once you get those, they're basically sealed from water completely. Unless they're opened. Which is just a bad idea.
I have the money. Yeah. They can get a masterwork backpack later.
Yeah. Or you can just do what Lord Cat did and just get a barrel with a couple of ropes attached to it.
Can I do that? Yeah, empty weight is 30 pounds, though.
Yeah. I'm joking.
Yeah, backpack it is.
Yep. Oh god, you said that there was something you needed where you needed to be one size category bigger?
Yeah. I'd have to find what that feat was again.
Titanic armor is how you do it. A suit of armor with titanic ability is almost comically oversized, though the effect is superficial and the interior fits the creature normally with no adjustments necessary. A creature within titanic armor is considered one size category larger for the purposes of using or being affected by special attacks that depend on size, such as swallow whole and trample. Once per day on command, the wearer can increase her size if using an enlarged person, even if the wearer is not humanoid, for 1 minute. In addition, once per minute as a free action, the wearer can add the armor's enchantment bonus to a single strength check or combat maneuver check, or to her CMD against a single combat maneuver. Because of its great bulk, the armor check penalty of Titanic armor is increased by the amount equal to its enchantment bonus. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, but hey.
What was that ability then? That required that? It was probably something incredibly crazy.
What was that?
Trying to find that power again.
Which power?
I thought it was a rage power that required me to be large. Or was it a feat?
I think it was a rage power, but who knows?
I just checked. Nothing there that says large. May have been a feat. Not there either. Where did I see that? This is gonna bug me.
Yep. Collapsible tower. 3 times per day, this +2 heavy shield can be commanded to can transform into a +2 tower shield. It can stay in tower shield form for 1 minute or until it's commanded to take its normal form again. Swift action. A collapsible tower's weight does not change when it takes the tower shield form. Nice. Oh, there's another upgrade I recommend for shields. It's very expensive later game, but what is it?
Well, I could use the shield because one of my weapons is going to be a single-handed weapon.
Here we go. Yeah, it's called the determination upgrade. It's also one of those just static price upgrades. A shield or armor with determination special ability provides the ability to fight on even in facing the seemingly impossible odds. Once per day, when the owner reaches 0 or fewer hit points, the item automatically provides a Breath of Life spell. And Breath of Life is a very powerful spell. This spell cures 5d8 points of damage +1 per caster level, maximum 25. Unlike other spells that heal damage, Breath of Life can bring recently slain creatures back to life if cast upon a creature that has died within 1 round, applying the healing from the spell to the creature. If the healing creature hit point total is at a negative amount less than Constitution score, it comes back to life and stabilizes at its new hit point total. If the creature's hit point total is at negative amount equal to or greater than the Constitution, the creature remains dead. Creature brought back to life through a Breath of Life gains a temporary negative level that lasts for 1 day. And negative levels, they don't do what you might think. Yeah. Okay. So negative levels. Yeah. Here we go. For each negative level the creature has, it takes a cumulative -1 penalty on all ability checks, attack rolls, combat maneuver checks, combat maneuver defenses, saving throws, and skill checks. In addition, the creature reduces its current hit point total by 5 for each negative level it possesses. The creature is also treated as 1 level over the person's level-dependent variables such as spell casting for each negative level possessed. Spellcasters do not lose any prepared spells or slots as a result of negative levels. If a creature's negative level equals or exceeds its total hit dice, it dies. A creature with temporary negative levels receives a new saving throw to remove negative level each day. The DC of the save is the same as the effect, blah, blah, blah. And there are ways to get rid of it, like restoration spells. And Raise Dead and Resurrection spells also give it to you. But this one's nice because basically it's the defib unit. You take a bad hit, you go down, it zaps you back. You don't feel good, but hey, you're still with us. Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm right. Yeah.
Give me my whiskey.
Yeah, and in this case, it'll give you 5d8 plus 10 hit points
He'll still
because
last,
it's a caster level 10 armor.
he'll still last for the whiskey though.
Yeah, the whiskey just makes the pain less
Mm.
in your mind. But yeah. Though I might actually get the holstering armor because my hawk can hide in it when I go into combat. So yeah, but nah, maybe not. I don't want to forget that the hawk's in there and it dies from starvation. So yeah, let's see. Glamored is pretty common. People get. If we are fighting a lot of ghosts, I might get ghost touch armor.
Yeah, we'll figure some stuff out. Hip flask. Same thing. Yeah. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Oh, Ty, I've got a quick question regarding bucklers, since they are a little bit finicky in this game.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was screaming at the fact that Enzo just won the cruiserweight title. Go ahead.
Okay. A buck. I like bucklers in this game, and I do something, and the rules around them are a little bit finicky. It says that when using it, if you're using it with a bow or a ranged weapon, there's no penalty. But it says when you're using a two-handed weapon or using a weapon in two hands, one in each hand, that the weapon affected by the buckler is at a -1. So I'm assuming that means that bows are not affected at all, and you always get the bonus as long as you're using a bow. But if I switch to using my two swords, that I will lose the bonus from the shield.
Well, obviously, if you're using two swords, you're not using your shield anymore, but...
Yeah. Well, technically, there is a feat from 3.5 that never made it to Pathfinder called, I think it's Buckler Mastery. But I'd have to ask you to bring it over, which will allow me to keep the bonus if I use that offhand arm.
I was about to
But
say, you know what? No penalty at all, because that just sounds silly.
it, here's the thing, though. The buckler, I don't. I have to find out if you know. Hold, let me actually Google it.
All right.
Okay, yeah, never mind. So, if I had armor that is +5 and a shield that is +5, I only get the +5 from one of the sources. So I don't get into the ridiculous armor turtle
I was about to
range.
say, yeah, you only get
Yeah.
one if that's the case.
But I technically, what I could do with it is I could put a +1 on the buckler and then put other magical effects on it. So yeah, because there are some unique shield ones that are helpful, like mirrored. The polished surface of a mirrored shield or armor gleams and shines and can be used as an ordinary mirror. Furthermore, it aids in battling creatures with gaze attacks. If the wielder averts his eyes, he can roll the mischance twice, selecting the better result. The wearer can deal sneak attack damage or other precision-based damage to a target, even though it has concealment against him. This provides no benefit if the wearer closes his eyes, wears a blindfold, or otherwise can't see the target at all. Mirrored armor or shield also adds enchantment bonus to the wearer's touch AC against rays. Okay, that's just a typo. This special ability may only be added to metallic armor or shields. So yeah. So I might just do that with my buckler, just so I've got it. Arrow deflecting might be useful as well.
All right.
Yeah, the shield protects the wearer if you have the deflect arrow feat. Once per round, when you normally be struck by a ranged weapon, you can make a DC 20 reflex save. If the ranged weapon or piece of ammunition has an enchantment bonus, the DC increased by that amount. If he succeeds, the shield deflects the weapon, but he must be aware of the attack and not flat-footed. Attempting to deflect a ranged weapon doesn't count as an action. Exceptional ranged weapons, such as a boulder hurled by giants or acid arrows, can't be deflected.
Yeah. If you could deflect the boulder, I'm like, no, that your
Yeah.
buckler, your buckler and your arm implodes.
I think if you're throwing a boulder, you might just argue just a reflex save at that point.
No,
Whoop.
but if you're trying to block him, like, yeah,
Yeah.
unless that's a nat 20, your buckler and the arm is going to be using it just implodes.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go to like a cleric for a week just to get your arm functional again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not sure what other items to get. Admittedly, I haven't gotten my armor or weapons yet, but I'm still trying to think of some of the other essentials that I'd require. So far I have bedroll, blanket, tent, soap, compass, map, rope, 5 days of ration.
You don't need a map. Map doesn't stack with compass, actually.
Oh, it doesn't?
Yeah.
All right. What was the map worth?
So we're starting with average gold for our level, right? Or sorry, average gold for our class.
I rolled.
Oh, okay.
So map is. I saw you a second ago. Where were you? Probably the next level. You are worth 50 gold. All right, so you're getting the heat stone.
Well, no, the heat stone is an alchemical item that you can only use once. It's like a sun rod. I'm just saying that's a way to survive. We're not dealing with extreme cold yet, and I can just scavenge for wood for now. But eventually, I basically in my bag, I basically have a satchel. You know, like those modern kind of like one strap over the shoulder satchels that bike couriers wear. I basically get one of those that hangs out underneath my cloak, and it's got one main compartment that holds like 80 pounds of gear, and then two side compartments that hold about 25 pounds each. And in those 25-pound compartments, I put the Type 1 bags of holding because they fill up 20 pounds of that space. And in one of those bags, I have my, what's the best way to put it? My camping kit, my base camp kit. That's what it is. Where I've got a tent, a large amount of emergency rations, cooking supplies, like an actual full cooking kit, actually. So yeah. So basically, I've got a tripod, all that stuff. I've got my map making stuff in there. I can add in additional tents and bedrolls for you guys. You know, if you would like. Wow.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah. Holy crap. I'm half tempted to take the archer archetype of the fighter. Because it gives me something called safe shot. And archer does not provoke attacks of opportunity when making ranged attacks with a bow, but that's just a little bit too min-maxy. I'm just kind of looking through these, see if there's any interesting ones.
That's good. So, outside of those items, anything else you'd recommend, or that'd be good.
What items? What items am I recommending? Okay, okay. Here are the basic ones: backpack, an empty sack or two, some belt pouches, things like that, just to carry, just generally carry stuff. A water skin or two, just so you have extra water.
I got a canteen, so that'd be good.
Yeah, canteen's good enough. Backpack. Always have some rope on you and a grappling hook.
Right.
That's just always useful. I usually carry a lot more rope than that, but that just makes them crazy.
There's grappling hooks itself. Yeah, the grappling hook itself is under weapons, not items.
Yep.
That was unexpected. 6 gold. All right.
So Ty, other than the -1 for wielding something in the wielding a melee weapon in the buckler hand, buckler just always works.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I might actually go with an armor master fighter. Basically, I've got the offense from the ranger, defense from the fighter. Level 20, Indestructible. An armor master gains complete immunity to critical hits and sneak attacks while he is wearing armor. In addition, unless his armor has the fragile quality, it cannot be sundered while he is wearing it.
In other words, permanent super armor.
Yep.
Okay, so what else are you recommending? That's that. Yeah. What else are you recommending? Like other than a few of those, like
Oh,
containers?
just the basics. Yeah, a couple containers to carry stuff. Always have a sack available because small stuff is annoying to carry. You know. I'm assuming you've already gotten weapons and armor.
I'm getting that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a Reese Kane.
Hey, Reese.
Hey, what's up? I just thought I'd bop in for a quick bit.
No problem.
Not much. You?
I just got back from a pizza joint.
Sounds tasty.
Oh yeah, best thing of all is their CBS subs, cheddar, bacon, and steak. I hope I'm not interrupting much.
Nope.
Oh, no, we're just kind of going over things for our Pathfinder game. We're going a Gestalt since we only have 3 guys playing.
Gestalt. That's like one of those combiner robots, isn't it?
Kind of. It's combining classes. Basically, you get 2 class levels per character level, and you take the best of both.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. So.
So I got the Cyview, Woolly Boar, and Mazed interested in Parsec.
Ooh, that's nice.
Nice.
As to whether or not we'll be able to hit them up while I'm streaming, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But either way, the more the merrier.
Yep.
Pack mule. That's seriously a subtype of ranger, of fighter. Lol.
Apparently.
Oh, he's like a courier. Yeah, efficient packer. Yeah, he can. Yeah, well, actually, kind of interesting. He adds a bonus equal to half his class level to his strength score for the purpose of determining his carrying capacity. Lol. Weight training. Third level pack mules learn to maneuver more while when carrying a medium or heavy load. He reduces check by 1 and increases max dexterity allowed by 1 at 7th, 11th, and 15th level. Benefits increased by 1. In addition, pack mule can move at normal speed while carrying medium load. At 7th level, pack mule can move at normal speed. Yeah, basically, this is a I can carry everything build. Oh, Kiri, something you might find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There is a theory craft where a dwarf could carry a full sail ship on his back and still go 20 feet per round.
Nice.
Yeah. It requires a lot of things to pull it off, though.
I could imagine. At that point, if I think I could pull a very perfect intimidation check, though.
Yeah. I can carry a boat across the land. What can you do?
I can just imagine a bunch of bandits. One's on the lookout. They say they see a boat. A bunch of others say, "Yeah, there's a boat out there. This is supposed to be land." They go investigate, and they see me carrying it.
Then they realize they fucked up.
Hey, as long as they don't draw
And
their
that is
weapons.
the moment they realized that they had fucked up.
Mm-hmm. If they were smart, they'd realize, yeah, we're not going to mess with this. They'll just walk back and pretend they never saw anything. Let's see. So that now leaves me with just 163 gold to go with.
Mhm.
So I could go with the scale mail and the armored kilt.
Then you'd be in heavy armor, but your speed wouldn't be affected.
Nope, wouldn't be affected in the least. So that would be 70 gold, so that brings me down to 93 gold.
How much gold did you start with?
Basically, as a fighter, it is 5d6 times 10.
Yeah. I'm guessing you rolled pretty well? Yeah. Nice. Let's see.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's kind of scary, adaptable training. The fighter can use his base attack bonus in place of his ranks in one skill of his choice from the following list: acrobatics, climb, disguise, escape, intimidate, knowledge, engineering, profession, soldier, ride, or swim. That's interesting, I have to say.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit! I just had a thought. My fast movement.
Yeah.
I think that means I lose my extra 10 feet.
No. It stacks with the dwarven ability.
All right.
Because the thing is that because it affects you directly affects your base speed. I think, except in a certain situation. Oh, if you're wearing heavy armor, then yeah, you will lose it.
Yeah. So.
You might. Well, the thing is, you can always just drop the armored kilt. It's only a plus
Yeah.
one. Just stick with a. Just stick with like a. If you can't afford to get a breastplate.
Yeah. I'll just skip the skill and go with something else. Just get better armor.
You have to get some slightly heavier armor. If you can afford it, of course. But yeah, my backup character concept is going to be a gunslinger paladin, half elf named William Remington.
Nice.
And he's an Aussie accent, mate.
Oh boy.
How you doing, there, mate? And yes, he does wear that kind of stereotypical Australian leather cap.
I was about to say, what's next? The Crocodile Dundee cap and the giant
Yes.
knife?
No, giant knife. He uses a sword. But he uses a musket and is really good with it. He's specifically what's called a divine hunter paladin, and what was the other thing? And a musket master gunslinger. Eventually, he makes a mithril. Yeah, he makes a mithril musket, a masterwork musket of his own design that's wheel lock. And yes, he can fire that thing like a machine gun. It's scary.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. muskets have a bit of a risk associated with them, but there are ways I can mitigate it. He's also weirdly good at picking locks and disarming traps. Just saying. Yeah.
Thank God we get a free pair of clothing. So this is 10 gold or less. I think I have a very well made character.
Seem like all three you got very well made characters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got solid concepts that cover a lot of roles. I'm basically, because I've got the fighter background, I can be a full switch hit ranger. Though I'm not as tough as a proper melee ranger, I make up for it in the fact that I'm going to be dodgy as fuck. So it's going to be hard to hit me. Combination of just strong armor with high dexterity, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'll basically just be kind of spinning around my enemies with two gladiuses because I like the gladius weapon. But yeah, Ty, if you're willing to kind of consolidate all of the weapons and armor crafting skills into one armorer skill, I'd be more than happy to be the team's armorer. Or Kiri, you could pick it up too if you got some extra skill points floating around, and work together.
I might have to get a level or two just to get some of those points in, but yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not exactly a thing I'm going to start with.
I was like, yeah, let's keep them split up. Don't want you guys to be too ultra
Okay.
powerful.
Well, so is archery still going to be a separate bow making going to be a separate skill, or is it just going to be rolled into weapons?
Rolled into weapons.
Okay. So yeah. Yeah. Gonna use those from the quick. Be right back. that I'm going to punch out for the night.
Okay.
I'll talk to you guys around. See you guys around. Okay.
All right.
First
See you later.
session.
And-
First session next Sunday.
Yeah, first session next Sunday at 1. Just make sure
Okay.
you like put your character sheet in the D&D thingy, so I at least could look at it.
I'll PM
All
it
right.
to you.
Thanks.
Okay, no problem. See you guys.
All right. And
That's it.
Have a good night. Have a good night,
and anyone
man.
for stuck around for 4 hours just to listen to us ramble, thanks for watching.
Mm-hmm.